Now they'll move it to Axe. Look in the middle, don't score. The roommates. Fridge to Orlando.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Edvative Learning. If you are an education major or anyone considering a career in teaching, you won't want to miss this. Edvative Learning is an innovative educational consulting company that is revolutionizing the way aspiring teachers prepare for their careers. As a proud sponsor of the Lax Lounge podcast and Cabrini Lacrosse, Edvative is here to help you take your teaching aspirations to new heights. Edvative offers a comprehensive one-on-one coaching program tailored specifically for those interested in entering the teaching profession. With Edvative's coaching program, you'll receive personalized guidance and support to help you succeed in your career. They provide mock interviews, guided job searches, resume optimization, and much more. Their team of experienced educators and career coaches will equip you with the skills and knowledge needed to excel in the competitive world of teaching. One of the most incredible aspects of Edvative's coaching program is their guarantee. Yes, you heard it right. They guarantee at least one job offer within the first 3 months of coaching. That's an amazing opportunity you don't want to miss. For just $250 per month, Edvative guarantees that you will receive at least one job offer. Imagine the peace of mind knowing that your investment in coaching will lead to tangible results. It's an offer you can't afford to pass up. So whether you're a current education major, a recent graduate, or someone looking to make a career change into teaching, Edvative Learning is here to support you and guide you in every step of the way. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to secure your job as a teacher. Visit their website at www.edvative.com to learn more about their coaching program and how they can help you kickstart your teaching career. Once again, that is www.edvative.com.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lax Lounge. Got another great episode in store. I'm personally very excited. I don't know about you, Nick.
Very excited.
We have a pretty special guest joining us here. Let's shoot it over to the guest chair, Mr. Nicholas. Who do we have joining us in the lounge?
Dominic, how are you, brother?
Fellas, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be here. I told Fridge over the summer that I've listened to you guys all through during my internship, and now I'm here. So it's pretty full circle for me.
Once a fan, and now a member of the lounge.
It's
not a
all,
member, a guest.
As you said, it is all full circle. Look at the smile on that guy's face.
It's beautiful.
That's a Lax Lounge enthusiast right there. I love it. In the true Lax Lounge fashion, we have to start off with a little bit of an icebreaker. Cut through the tension, get through that first couple minutes of the pod before we start flowing and grooving in a nice conversation. So this is where I hand it off right back to Nick for the Fast Five. He said to me earlier today that this was a great Fast Five, so I'm excited.
I think it's a great Fast Five.
All right, the floor is yours.
Let's hear it.
What's your favorite cereal?
Reese's Puff.
Favorite movie?
Cars, the original.
Favorite band?
Favorite band is Maroon 5.
Dream car?
When I was younger, it was a pickup truck, but now it's just a Jeep.
Any make and model? Like perfect. Like
Honestly, like just anything with a Jeep truck, honestly.
like that. Favorite word in the dictionary?
Oh, man. I say, what do I say a lot? I say, like, I don't even know what I say a lot. I say fellas a lot. I say guys a lot.
I'm a big fellas guy, too. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, if I had, like, a 10-point word, one of my favorite ones to whip out is just stupendous. Like, how's your day? Stupendous.
I love the word dapper.
Dapper, that's a good one.
Dapper's a perfect word.
Immaculate, a couple years ago, like during quarantine, this is deep in quarantine here, I would be driving to and from my friend's house, and I do this thing. I still have the story for it. Car talks with Fridge. And one day, it's the thoughts that I have when I'm sitting in traffic and just my mind is racing. And the one time it was like, I think I found my new favorite word, immaculate. Like, you can describe anything that's, like, good or anything that's, like, great. And if you put immaculate there, like, it just takes it to the next level.
Right.
Like, that food was immaculate. And then I went into this whole rant about, like, dude, like, the Immaculate Conception. Like, that must have been awesome. Like, that must have felt great. It's one of the craziest 3 minutes on my Snapchat. And it's a little, like, insert into how my mind works when I'm just, like, my mind is racing. Another one I did was, like, sitting in traffic, I was like, can I count to 100 in French? And then I did. And then I'm like, what about Spanish? What about past? Like, 20 minutes. I wasn't recording, but I was just doing this. And then I got to a stoplight, and I'm like, I have to show this. So I put it on my private story. I'm like, I'm going insane, guys. I need help.
Favorite band's Maroon 5 or favorite song? From Maroon 5, that is.
That's a tough one. They haven't come out with a lot of new songs recently. Oh my gosh.
Sugar, yes,
That
please.
low key might be the favorite one.
Good one.
It's a great one.
Big fan
And
of their oldies.
that came out like I guess when we were in high school. I guess.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably 2017, actually.
Yeah, that was-
2017, 2018.
I'm also a big like listen to the radio type of guy,
Okay.
so it was always playing on the radio,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that's why it's so catchy as well.
Oh, yeah. And Adam Levine, I mean, he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Favorite movie being Cars. I think you're the first person to pick a Pixar movie as their favorite. Explain that a little bit. What's the nostalgia around Cars?
I mean, also it was my first ever movie that I saw in theaters.
Really?
So I think that definitely has a special vibe to it. And just, I mean, Lightning McQueen. I mean, come on, he speaks for himself.
True that.
Especially just to get lost in Radiator Springs and then find his way and then not be the the douche that he was previously, and then help King at the end. I think it's just a special movie.
It is a great movie.
Important follow-up. What are your thoughts on Cars 2 and 3?
I mean, fantastic.
What? Are you joking?
Now, Cars 2, little controversial. I know it's controversial because there's not a lot of racing. It's more of like a spy movie, and it's called Cars. So why would it be like why is Tow Mater a spy? But I think Cars 3 brings it back. It revamps the series. It revamps it, and it comes full circle. Like I said earlier,
Okay.
It when now that McQueen is the crew chief, I mean that's just comes all the way back.
I'll give you that one.
This man knows his movies.
It's
He knows cars.
Don Petruzzelli, ladies and gentlemen. Cars 2, I do think like it's a cool movie. It's a cool idea. And like you said, like that's not a Cars movie.
I
Like
agree,
you could have. That's the plot of a James Bond movie.
It is a Cars movie.
Yep.
Because they're cars.
They're cars.
That's the thing. It doesn't have to be a racing movie. It does.
But, like, it
there's still racing in there.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're people. There's no people in it. They're the people, right? So that's just what it is.
Do you guys know about the Pixar theory?
That
they're all
worlds-
connected?
Yeah.
All interconnected. Dude, I believe that thing.
I see it on
so
TikTok
hard.
all the time.
I
And I'm
love
like,
it.
this is great.
There's
Yeah.
a YouTube channel. It's Super Carlin Brothers, and they like do in depth, like way too far, and I love it because they will take every minute detail and they'll connect it to one different part of the Pixar universe and say how it all connects. And when it comes to the Cars movies, I think that they said this was after or in between when humans left Earth, like when they're in Wall-E and they go off. During that time, humans came back and evolved as cars, and like that's why they're like human-like and they have all the cities and shit. And then after that, it just went down the dumps. Wall-E happens, we come back, and then we evolve into monsters.
Yep.
Monsters Inc.
Mhm.
And little Boo is the witch from Brave. When I did not a lesson, but in 8th grade, my science teacher, I told him about this, and I'm like, this is fucking insane. This is amazing. And he's like, yo, like, teach the class about this. I think this would be awesome. So I played the video and, like, broke it down like I was just in a presentation or, like, a lawyer. Where it's like, see? Now it connects here. You guys see where he's going with this? Let's hit play. Let's listen to this a little bit more. It was awesome. Big Pixar fan.
So Inside Out 2 trailer came out. How do you feel about that one, Fridge? How do you feel about that one?
I am very intrigued because I was a big Inside Out fan. I enjoyed it a lot.
I also enjoyed Inside Out. I didn't even know that like a sequel was possible with that type of movie.
I didn't think it would be either.
But
Yeah. I thought it was a standalone.
I really like the angle they're taking though, where it's like, oh, we're going into puberty.
Yeah.
We're gonna really see what emotional damage looks like.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see the chaos that happens there.
Right.
So
Yeah, because the original 5 they're freaking out in the trailer, and then who is it? Was it Anxious or Anxiety that says hello, and it's like, oh, what about my friends? I'm like, hold on, there's more of you.
that should be an interesting one. See how Riley survives. Our favorite. I remember I saw that in person in Boise, Idaho, when it was like 116 degrees outside, and we were like, we're gonna go inside and watch a movie. And at the end, especially when Bing Bong dies, spoiler alert, sorry, anybody who hasn't seen Inside Out, I shed a tear, and I was like, why am I crying about a fucking mythical fluffy elephant thing dying in a Pixar movie? But god damn, it's working. It's working, man.
They're good at their jobs.
They are, especially Pixar. They know to tug at those heartstrings so much. I say let's get right into everything else.
I think we should. Tell me about yourself. When were you born? What's your upbringing like? What school did you go to? How many sports did you play as a kid?
Yeah.
Ask you every single question.
At the whole background.
Yeah.
You want my social too, or
that would be great actually. Tell everybody.
Last 3 digits on your credit card too. But who is Don Petruzzelli?
Yeah. Well, for starters, I'm from Warminster, Pennsylvania. So, in regards to Cabrini, I'm about 45 minutes away. I live there with my parents, Rose, shout out mom, Al, hi dad, what's up, and my little brother Enzo. We live in Warminster. I went to Archbishop Wood High School. That's currently where Enzo is at right now. He's a senior there. So growing up, let's see. Just like every other kid, you've played majority of multiple sports. Soccer being actually on the back burner for a little bit. I was a big baseball kid growing up. In the youth, those U8, U9, U10 days, huge on baseball. I was also involved in soccer as well. I played for the Southampton Spartans. And then I actually was playing up. U8, I was only 6 at that point. I was technically U7, but I was playing U8. Along with some of my other friends, one of my best friends, CJ, he was also doing the same thing. I'll get back to how we moved to a different club later down the road. So that's kind of where it all started. And then basketball, I just did CYO with his, which is a Catholic youth organization. Went to Catholic grade school and high school, so and then Catholic college as well. So, so it wasn't really huge on basketball, but was still just a overall athlete, like we all are, So let me go back to baseball real quick. Was a big baseball player. Usually pretty good, and it's not to my own horn, but I was just bigger than most kids. And then as you get older, everyone else starts to grow. I didn't really grow that much, so then baseball kind of took a back burner. And once that happened, soccer started to take the rise. Ended up moving clubs because the team was kind of folding, and so ended up moving to a club called we call it VE, but it's Vereniging Erschkeberg. Shout out, they just won round 4 of the Lamar Open Cup today, so now they actually get to play against some top sides, mostly MLS sides they get to go to.
I just can't believe how you said that so smooth. And that word, if I looked at it, it probably would look like a seizure.
Yeah, it's German.
Obviously.
So Petruzzelli, they don't mix. They were like, who's this Petruzzelli kid coming to a German soccer club?
It's Italian.
But honestly, maybe one of the best moves I've ever made in my entire life. Went there as U10, along with some other players from my Southampton team, CJ being one of them. And they actually had 2 teams at our age group at the time, Klinsmann and Beckenbauer. So we were split up for the first time, and we had gone through all grade school together. So it was like, oh crap, I'm not with CJ, because it was always we were always on the same wing. I was outside back, he was outside mid. So we built that chemistry together, where you could literally close your eyes and where the other one was. Continued through that. Then the whole, I don't know, you guys might not be aware, there was an age change in youth soccer across all of America. And instead of doing U13, U14 based off of your grade, they did it off of your birth year. So it messed it up a little bit. So now, for example, for me, I'm an old sophomore, but someone who's a young junior would be on the same team, but they would technically be a grade above me, right? So we'd be on the same soccer team, but they'd be already in college, but while I'm still a senior in high school. So it really messed up recruiting a little bit.
So did it went by birth year, not grad year?
At first it was grad year. Then it changed to birth year.
Because we had a similar, at least I know I did, for our club lacrosse. It used to be U13, U15, U17, high school elite, And then I want to say like my freshman or sophomore year, that's when they switched to grad years so that they could more easily kind of keep everyone together for recruiting purposes. So then obviously I started playing on the 2021s. And you'd have people, if they reclass, they drop to the team below.
Right.
If they decide to excel and like go up early, they can play up on the 2020s or something like that. But doing it by like birth year,
it really messed a lot of things up. So basically, the entire like youth soccer was doing just like tryouts again. So many teams folded, and really then that team that we created based off of it was our 2003 team, a couple of 04 players as well because they were already on our team previously, but they're like, I want to stay with you guys to play, which honestly worked out for the better, because some of them who were 04s, they were young for, for example, young for my grade, but older for the birth year, but they still were on that team. So it was like everyone was recruited the same way because we were all still in the same grade.
yeah.
Which is pretty interesting about that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Mhm.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I never knew that. I actually never knew that about the lacrosse thing either, because I only got introduced to the club scene when I was, after my freshman year of high school.
Really?
Yeah, so I never noticed the 21s and everything like that.
Because I remembered I was able to play with some of my friends who were a year younger than me, because you'd be on like the U13 team, and when I'm at 13, I can play with the 12-year-old. Same with like U15, you can wait for that year so that you can play with all of your middle school buddies. And like it was so much fun. And then they finally went to grad years, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm gonna leave you guys in the dust.
Yeah.
Or if you do like a combined team, like during COVID, we did a 2022, 2021 team.
Yeah, that's what we did also.
So much fun because our 2022 Cityside team was nuts. They were crazy. Freak defenders, midfielders were athletic as fuck. Their attack unit was sick. So like we all got to play together. And like we'd been friends because we traveled around. We'd always be in the hotels together. And so finally being able to like play with them that final year, it was so awesome. Like my last tournament ever, I got to do it with all my 2021 friends and my 2022 friends. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely a nice little cherry on top to our career. But getting back to, so you're still talking about like getting up the ranks in soccer. How long have you been playing club soccer at like a competitive level? And how does that like work? Honestly, because I have no idea. Like when I played what I would call rec soccer, like it was just everybody played in the Snow King League. We had the same jersey, but just different colors. Right. It was like basically the rivalries of, fuck the red team. Like the red team's super good. They won the championship every year. Like we're green. I think we're green my entire career now that I think about it. But like we were the green team. We're the Celtic Warriors. And we're fucking raw. But like realistically we sucked because none of us played soccer.
Because you're in a rec league.
Yeah, none of us played soccer competitively. So how does that work at like taking the jump from I'm going to play rec soccer to I'm going to play competitive travel soccer?
Yeah. So at least there's all these different leagues that you can enter and different divisions across each league. Primarily when you're younger, you would play in what would call the Rock League or the Intercounty League. Usually Intercounty was a bit more competitive. They had the Elite League and then divisions 1, 2, 3 all the way down. Rock League, it was like usually just Division 1. Those are kind of like your mid-tier teams, and then the Intercounty was a little bit higher. Did I ever win? I don't think I ever won an Intercounty Soccer League. Lost Elite multiple times. But as you got older and more turned like so previously when you're younger you play AV8 soccer. Now it's 77 and 99 and then 11v11. But before the whole age thing and the whole numbers changes, it was 8v8 and then 11v11. So once you got to 11v11, it opened up more leagues for you. So EDP is a huge league now, and then they continue to make more and more leagues. Usually it's like Rock at the bottom, Intercounty, EDP. What's it now? It's ECNL is right above that. Usually like your premier teams are what go there. And then you have your MLS Next level, and then you have like your MLS like Division 2 teams, which is like Union 2, like Inter Miami 2, like all those squads. And then you obviously have the MLS right above that. But in regards to like moving up and stuff, usually it's like you enter your whatever league you want to play in, and then usually you're ranked off of like how many points you scored the previous year in that whatever league you were in. At one point, at least for my team, Klinsman, once we got to 11v11, we were like top 10 in the state for a while there. And then continued just to lose and lose in the state tournament multiple times. But eventually we got to the state tournament in the Challenge Cup bracket and finally got to the end and won it actually against a local club, Phoenix, another German club. So it was a huge rivalry usually in our like semi-pro division, but now coming into the youth league. So massive crowd at that game. Then we were coming back for the next year, trying to go back to back. So we moved up another division in the state run, and that was called the President's Cup. Made it all the way there again to the finals. What was that? I forget when the pandemic. I forget which one. Was it the back-to-back?
The fact that you're getting confused is like that's such a good problem. Yeah. It's like, is that the year we went back to back? Were we about to go back?
I think we were trying to, and then the pandemic hit, and then we came back after and won. That's what happened.
We got a winner over here.
Yeah. So that tournament, state tournament, was really fun because so many of my guys on the club team are also on my high school team. So I'll get to the high school part in a sec. But the club division, where we went to President's Cup, we actually went into double overtime, went into PKs as well. That was just maybe the longest soccer game I've ever played in my entire life. It was 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. The sun was shining. It was 95 degrees on hot turf at United Sports. You guys ever play lacrosse at United Sports? Yeah.
I have, actually.
Field one, right there. And that's actually the game that Coach Dallas recruited me from.
Wow.
So that, so I guess I had a pretty good showing in that game. We 0-0. It was actually against one of the other Cabrini players at the time, Trent. He had recently transferred. But we were going out of the whole game. We were up against each other. And like in our scouting report, like we knew Trent was their guy. I think he was number 27. Like, all right, Mark, Dom, you're on the strong side, or you're on Trent. It's like, all right, so we got a battle. I actually irked him on to get a yellow card in that game. So we laugh about that one to this day. Went to overtime after 0-0, and second overtime, about 10 minutes left, I think, in that one. And finally, Lionville, they get one on us. But, it doesn't stop there. In the 118th minute, so, got 2 minutes left in the game, and we got a penalty kick. And who steps up?
Yours truly.
We had not really, I don't think we'd practiced PKs a lot, but I was pushing forward at the time, and when we got the penalty kick, I was right outside the box, and someone turned around and just pointed at me. It was like, Dom, you're taking this. I was like, all right. So my buddy Braden came over, shook my head, was like, just hit your spot. Stepped up, made it, on to PKs. So in the PK shootout now, and back and forth. Our goalie finally makes a save, and then up to the fifth shooter, who steps up again.
I love the humble brag there. Like, this is awesome. He's like, can you guys say it so I don't have to say, like, I went up and hit the game-winning goal? But, like, that's okay, finish your story, because this is just, I just love the energy right now.
So, the penalty kicks is such a mental game.
100%.
It's like, and especially taking two in one game, you're like, okay, am I going to go the same way? Is the goalie going to dive the same way? Do I switch it up? Do I go down the middle? And, again, one of my teammates came up and just shook my head and was like, just hit your spot again. That's all you got to do. Hit it to your spot. Hit it to a corner with pace. That's all it is. Stepped up and then crushed it. And, so ended up going to regionals. We ended up losing the semifinals of the regional tournament. Fantastic experience down in West Virginia. But that was one of the best, experiences of club soccer that I've had. Because massive trophy, that posted everywhere online. Especially because the game went to double overtime. It was all over the state website for the tournament. It was great.
So PA for soccer, it's an entire club state championship, like
It's-
outside of high school?
Yep, outside, totally separate from high school soccer. It's they split up into East and Western Pennsylvania. So we were the Eastern PA champions, and then a bunch of the Northeast region champs from each state go to play in the regional tournament, usually in West Virginia. Actually, recently it was just at what's it called? What's the place in Delco?
Conchi
Maple
Proving
Zone?
No.
Marble Sports.
No, it's,
MSI?
the proving grounds.
Proving
Conchi.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Recently it was held at
Let's not
Conchi.
talk
See, I'm not from around here now.
Nor am I.
But yeah, usually the tournament's held there for President's Cup. So yeah, but the majority of my VE team, about 8 or 9 of us, are also went to the same high school, and we played together there. And in the Philadelphia Catholic League, you need some good chemistry to beat out those top squads, like Father Judge, Ryan, LaSalle, all those squads. Especially, I mean, not just in soccer. I mean everything. And unfortunately, my senior year at Wood, we lost in the quarterfinals of the PCL playoffs. We were the 2 seed, so huge upset across the league, where we were just not ready for that game at all. We were already thinking the semis, and we showed up and pretty much got our asses handed to us.
What was the score?
It was 3-2 actually. They hit a nasty free kick in overtime, but we did not have a lead the entire game.
Yeah.
We go into halftime. I think we were down 1-0 at halftime, and I think it was 0-0 at halftime, and they score like right off the bat. So we're like, all right, like we got to do something. Push my center back partner Louis up the field, scores immediately. Whatever, go back to normal. Come back, they score again. Like crap. Finally come back, get a PK. I step up to take that one and finish that. So 2-2, and go into overtime. And this kid hit a nasty free kick on us. I mean, it was from like 25 out over the top of the wall, and devastated. But luckily for the PCL and the Philadelphia Catholic League and the Philadelphia Public League, you get one bid from each class for the state tournament. So Wood, since we were the 2 seed, we were the bid for the 3A. And so then we played for our district. We ended up playing Franklin Town Charter and beat them. Usually the public league is a little bit weaker than the Catholic League. But both teams get to go into the state tournament. And then start the state tournament, and we're like, all right, like, we may have lost the PCL, but, a little redemption time, because this squad should not leave high school without a championship. And that run was something special. We ended up first game, played North Polk. No, that was summer. Played team, won 2-0, pretty handily. Probably should have been a little bit more. Go to the next game. This is awful weather. It's a quarterfinals of states. Awful weather. I don't even know where we were at. I think we were close to to my roommate's town, Mountaintop, and it is torrential downpour. Like I'm talking monsoon. The wind was horrendous. The rain was awful. The girls' Wood team played before us. They just lost, and that was devastating for them. And we went to watch the game as well. So that was heartbroken for us. And they had just won They just won the actual PCL championship. So we were thinking, okay, they might win the states. And huge upset in that game, and probably because of the conditions. Come out of our game for the locker room, no rain, nothing, dry as a bone, sun's out, 75 degrees. We're like, what the hell is going on? The field is a mess, though. I mean, there are puddles on the turf, and we go out for this game, and first 15 minutes we go down 2-0. We're getting trampled, I mean, and miraculously somehow we find one late in the second. It was late in the first half, and we're like, all right, well, a little momentum now. Let's start to get going. I think there was like 30 seconds left in the first half, and one of our sophomores, Logan Savage, hits a rip from the top of the box. His weak foot too. He's a lefty. Hits a righty. I thought he was going to take a touch, but he hits it one time, buries it into the bottom corner. We go into halftime 2-2, and now we should not be in this game. We should be down like 5-0 at this point. And we're like, we have life. And we're like, in that halftime talk, we need to win this game, or else the entire Wood soccer program of our career is done. Like, this is the last moment possible. Come out of halftime, and my buddy CJ, he turns into a different animal. He's a center mid, not a striker, and just turns it on, scores immediately into the second half, and place erupts. Turf is still wet. Does the knee slide into the corner? He still regrets that a little bit. He has massive turf burn still.
Still?
He's always slide tackling, so I just think it's never gone away. And then again, he scores the fourth one to go up 4-2, and we're like, oh my gosh, what is going on in this game? I did play with Enzo at that time, and we were talking about after the game, like, we could have been done. North Boken ended up getting a late goal with like a minute left, but it was already too late at that point. Arguably one of the dirtiest soccer games I've ever played. Like, wow. There could have been easily multiple red cards in that game, me included. And at halftime, the refs pulled the captains up, and we go up, and he's like, you guys need to control your teams, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I looked at him dead in the eyes. It's like, control the game before we control our teams. You have to take control. Like, I don't care if it's the most nitpicky foul ever. You got to start either handing out yellows or handing out something, or else this game is going to get out of hand, and we're not going to, both teams are going to lose, basically. And he didn't have a response to that, because I feel like as a soccer referee, I'm able to, like, know when to stop talking to refs. And this is one of those moments where I was like, that may have not been the best idea to say that right there, but I just walked away after that. And the second half ended up being a lot better. But overall, one of the dirtiest soccer games I've ever played.
I like how you say that, like, from the perspective of a soccer ref, because I had the same, like, I was a youth lacrosse ref all throughout high school, and it helped me to understand when to bitch and when not to bitch.
Exactly, yep.
Where it's like, that's a call that I understand, like, it's tough to make, blah, blah, blah. Or you're like, dude, you're out of position, like, you're letting this get way too out of control. You got to check in. You got to get this dialed in. Like, it's not okay. And that's something that not a lot of people really understand. Or, like, whenever I do bitch at a ref, I will always try not to be a dick, because I hated it when players would come up to me and tell me how to do my job. And it's like, buddy, if I really wanted to, I could toss you out of this game right now. I have the power. I can get you suspended. Stop talking.
Have you ever tossed anyone out of a game before?
I've had tossed coaches before.
Yeah, I've tossed coaches, and I think I've tossed a parent before.
Actually, I did have to throw a player out, because this was like a random. So the league that I reffed was the Nissel. That's where I played. And then the league to the east side of us was GEL, Greater East Side Lacrosse. And they were like the really good teams, but also the really aggressive teams. And their rule book, completely different than ours. So they also pay way more, which was very nice, and why I accepted.
Referees make good money. They make good money.
We'd make $45 per game for 5, 6, 7, 8. And then when I was a junior and senior, I was a mentor master bench official. So I basically got $10 more to do evaluations on officials. And like for 7, 8 games, I'd be the box official, which is the best, because I get to stand there. I tell the parents all the rules on the sideline. I talk with the coaches. Every once in a while, if it's a really bad game, I have to throw my flag. But mainly, I'm just backing up the calls, giving like advice to the guys, and I'm making a ton of money to not do anything.
Lax is still. Was it still like 60 minutes? Usually 4 quarters for that, or
no, it was way shorter. It was like
that's amazing.
Maybe I think could have been 10 minutes even.
Yeah.
Like playing 15-minute quarters in college is a huge difference.
Huge.
I think in high school it was 12.
Yeah, we played 12 in high school, because what you don't realize is you're playing a whole nother quarter.
Oh yeah.
Extra in college than you are than in high school.
You're playing lacrosse for an hour, and it is. I mean, we're saying that you play soccer.
No, I've watched you guys.
High school's different though. You guys play 80 minutes in high school.
Yeah. High school soccer is 80 minutes, but then club soccer in high school is 90 minutes. So it's you're like used to playing that. Yeah,
10 minutes extra.
But yeah, I've watched your games before, and I mean I've been in the booth for every single one, maybe last spring, and I'm like, wow, I would get destroyed in this. I'm glad I play soccer, honestly. I don't want to get beat up by a stick every game.
You're an athletic kid, though. You'd be fine. Though I'd say the hardest part, not the hardest part, like the lacrosse in general, like the first quarter. If it is a shootout in that first quarter, the game is 3 hours long. because
you gotta
in
stop
that
the
first
clock,
quarter, it stops every single time. And then if the game just like progresses that way, or if it's a shit game and the ball is just constantly going out, there's a shit ton of penalties, like lots of stoppages, then I mean, yeah, same deal.
Or if it's a game where you're like blowing someone out, because we don't do running clock. Like in high school, you'd have the mercy rule.
The girls do running clock when you're up by 10. Mm-hmm.
When you're up by 10 or 12, I forget what the number was, but like men's lacrosse, there's no mercy rule.
No mercy rule.
We can be up on Centenary 29-0, and we can't score another goal because that's our rule.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we have to sit and watch the clock go down 90 seconds at a time, roll the ball into the corner, let them try to clear. All right, get it back, 90 more seconds.
Yep.
That game felt like 3.5 hours.
It's rough because you feel bad. You want to go home. You know they want to go home. It's a rough time. Especially like we were there the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. So like they're gonna come here this year.
And it's been on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been on Wednesdays. So like we're traveling there. We get there. We got to warm up. We know the outcome. I think this year we got like 20 in the first quarter. Because didn't we hit our limit by halftime?
No, we hit it we actually hit it later than our freshman year, but I think we had 20 in the first half, and then like
that is absurd.
Hill, our offensive coordinator, his halftime speech was like, "All right, how do we want to spread out these 9 goals?" Like he asked around, he's like, "Who hasn't gotten one yet?" And we just gave play. Where we're like, we're assholes. We're calling our shots.
From the booth's perspective, we run out of goal celebration songs. We're just playing the same thing over and over at that point. And I think Laura was on music the one game, and we're like, it was like maybe like 15-0, and Laura's like, well, that's it. I ran out of songs. I guess I got to restart. And I was like, yep, just one of those Saturday mornings, Laura. Like just one of those days.
I love going back and looking through like the box scores from last year's games in conference, because we had like, I think it was Gwynedd and Mercy the second time where we were up like 17-0. I know Marywood, like we shut them out in the first half. But kind of so transitioning a little bit into, well, let's finish up your high school career first.
Yep.
Where we were at the game, it was super dirty,
Mm-hmm.
and I assume you guys won.
Yep. Yeah.
Dirty
We ended up.
as in like it was just. I mean, it was like rough. Like you said, like red cards could have been called, but they weren't.
I'm surprised there weren't any red cards.
Were any yellow cards called?
Oh yeah. I think there were maybe 10 yellow cards at both teams.
You said you were almost getting a red card too. What did you do?
It was one of the final corners of the game. It was a North Pocono corner, and one of my buddies he got pushed to the ground, and I'm just at that point. There's a minute left. I'm like, I am done with this game, and he's on the ground, and I just shoved this kid, and So my buddy was on the ground, and he ended up table topping the kid, and everyone in the entire stadium saw me do this. Except for 3 refs. And our goalie got the ball and we just cleared it out, and this kid's still on the ground like yelling at the ref, and the ref's like, yeah, I didn't see it, and their coach comes screaming, hey, blah 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 blah, and I was like, yep, I definitely did that. I 100% did that.
Hand up, that was me.
Yep, but yeah, so that could have been something huge, especially for this next game. So that was the quarterfinals. Made it to the semifinals. And it was at the same location as my sophomores lost, my seniors. We lost sophomore year in the state semis at Methacton High School. We lost to Strathaven at that time, and they were a solid squad. They ended up losing the state championship, but they were top tier. And so as soon as we got the drawing, we're like, revenge game at Methacton. That's all it was about. And we end up playing Bishop Shanahan, another Catholic school. So many, like throughout the week, some of our the football guys were like, "Yo, it's the Holy War." The battle of two Catholic Archdiocese of Philadelphia teams. Yeah. I was like, "Yo, that's actually a great name for it." I didn't even think about that. But Bishop Shanahan, a solid squad. They had a D1 commit up top, Zane. He was arguably one of the best strikers I've ever played against. He goes to Bucknell, actually. Great soccer player. So in the scouting report, he was their main guy. They also had another winger, number 7, super shifty, super speedy, and we're like, this is gonna be a battle. Get there, we're loaded up. Student section is in the stands. Majority of the women's soccer team. And we were just pumped. We were pumped up. Just come out firing, shot, and CJ again. First 8 minutes, buries a shot. Ended up going down the sideline through one of our outside mids, crossed in. If you watch the video, CJ throws his hands up as he's in the middle of the box and just buries this bottom corner. And one of the few shots that happened all game, and we held on to that 1-0 lead. My mom says that is actually her favorite ever soccer game to watch, the Archbishop Wood versus Bishop Shanahan game. And I'll tell you what, me and Louis, my center back partner, had a handful with these two strikers. This kid was speedy, he was crafty, and his off-the-ball movement, one of the best I've ever seen. And it created so many problems for us to get it down. And because our plan was for me to man mark him and Louis to be free on the back line. And I guess I did my job because it didn't score. But they were a solid squad, and just the energy of that game, the atmosphere was unbelievable. And then when the final whistle blows and we all run over to our stands and we're like, what is being thrown at us? And people were throwing Hershey kisses at us because the state final was in Hershey. That's like usually where not anymore. We're actually the final game to ever play at Hershey, but that's where the final has historically been held. And we're like, why are we being pelted by like rocks right now? And the candy was frozen because it was so cold outside. And these Hershey kisses just come flying through the air at us. So basically it rained chocolate, as what we said on the ride home. And so that was the state semis, and then the finals. We ended up losing in the state championship, unfortunately, to Hampton. They were way better than us. We were defending for 80 minutes long, the entire game. Wow. Yeah. And they were a solid squad. Our goalie, Julian, at the time, he kept us in that game. He made heroic saves. Heroic. Arguably one of the best goalies I've ever played with. And, I mean, just the atmosphere of that game, too. A whiteout for the student section. But the game was just, the atmosphere was different in Hershey. The stadium was everything. You smelled the chocolate as you were playing. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And you're like, I can almost taste it, because when you win in Hershey, you get a giant chocolate bar to split among the team. And you're like, I can smell it. We ended up losing 1-0 though. But it was that moment against Lansdale Catholic in the PCL quarterfinals that we lost that I think propelled us to get all the way to the state final.
Wow.
Because we're like, we cannot let that happen again. This team is way too talented to not be able to win something or at least go far. For Archbishop Wood, that was the second team, the second soccer team ever to go to the state final. Actually, they lost to Hampton the first time as well, back in 2010 and 2011. And then we actually losing to Hampton again in 2021 when we played the second time.
Wow. What's it like going to Wood? Like, you guys, all your sports are good. Like, your football team, obviously. Like, they stand out. I mean, not to dish you in your soccer team, but, like, football team, they've always been good, to my knowledge. So, like, what's it like going through high school, like, and just, like, seeing their success alongside, like, your own success with soccer?
So, for reference, football team, there was a coach there. I forget, his name is escaping me, but he won 4 or 5 state titles in a row, and he basically built a dynasty there. Then he ended up leaving. He went to a college to be a defensive coordinator. I'm not sure where he's at now or whatnot. And then had a couple down years. Made it to like the semis or something like that. And then my sophomore year.
Did you say a down year where you made the semifinals?
Yeah, in the state. Yeah, exactly. But then my sophomore year, they made it back, and they ended up winning against Cheltenham. That was the last time that was the last time they won. But now, recently, football has been on the decline, but basketball, skyrocketing. Women's basketball, they currently have a 3-peat state championship right now. They're looking for 4 in a row. PCL-wise, I think they're like 3 for their last like 6, and they made it to the finals like 6 times in a row, something like that. And then men's basketball, they've struggled a lot in PCL play because the PCL basketball is on a different level. I'm talking Newman Goretti, LaSalle, Roman, Jalen Duren is in the NBA right now. I saw him play I was a sophomore, and this kid was unbelievable. I was like, I know you're going to the league, and I'm witnessing it right now. He dunked on our 6'11" center. I was like, this game might be over before it even started. But actually now they have Jalil Bethea. He's like the number 6 ranked point guard in the nation, and he's committed to Miami. So they're a solid squad. I think they've lost the state championship twice in a row now. So they get, these other teams are bringing their A game when they play against Wood at any sport. But yeah, Wood has a long history of winning, and not just in the basketball and the football world. Even like track and field. If you ever heard of Gary Martin, he holds the current Pennsylvania mile record. He went sub 4 in the mile, which hasn't been done in a long time in Pennsylvania, and so he ran 3:57 at the PCL finals. So think about that, a historic event, and he runs a sub 4 mile, which he was going for all year. And so yeah, what you're saying, Nick, Wood has a long history of winning and top squads, and I think it's just going to keep getting better, honestly.
A big name for yourself. Isn't there a kid that just like went there now? He's like, he's running like crazy times in cross country maybe, or track and field, something.
You're probably thinking about Gary. Yeah, he's
it is Gary.
He's
there right now.
He's at University of Virginia now. He's in my grade. Yep.
So he's your grade. Okay.
Yep,
I thought this kid. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to wrap my head around.
So you guys breed.
He ran
fucking athletes.
Mm-hmm.
He ran 1 mile faster than all of our lacrosse team ran 3/4 of a mile. Like
with Dustin,
like my time was 4:20, and I was fucking proud of that because it's
Mm-hmm.
like 4:30 was our benchmark of like if you can do a 4:30 3/4 mile, it's pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah.
And like our top score I think was like maybe 4:05, maybe. He's still got fucking 8 seconds on us.
I gotta see this kid's
To
pace.
do a full lap.
He's on a different level. So I ran track in high school, and I was like a mid distance guy. I was a 2.48 type of runner. And when he would train, and I'm trying to keep up with him on these long runs, and I'm like, Gary, just run ahead. Like, there's no way I'm keeping pace with you right now. Like, you're going D1 for track. You do your thing. I'll sit back and run my 2.48s and and stuff like that.
How tall is he?
He's about 6 foot, 6'1", yeah.
I didn't know if he was like tall and just had like huge strides.
No, you wouldn't. He does have really long legs. You wouldn't think that he's like this fantastic runner, but I know all runners are built like almost sticks pretty much. And it's funny when they all hit the weight room with like some of the soccer guys are also on the track team, and we're in there in the weight room a couple days a week, and we're like, guys, what are we doing? Like,
You're benching a PVC pipe.
yeah, it's pretty much exactly.
Just go run.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. Yeah. Is he like, he has you said it's a world record, right?
The Pennsylvania state record. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And his cross country record just got broken this year.
Wow.
I believe they run a 5K. Now he's running 5Ks in like 14 minutes.
Oh my god.
And I'm pretty sure it just got broken this year at the PIAA championship, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
But other than that, his mile still holds. I believe his 2 mile might be like top 5. And his 800 is also at least in the top 10 for sure. I'm pretty positive about that.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Multiple time state champion in the mile and the 3200, which is 2 mile, and then in the 800 as well. Mm-hmm.
So he's like a long short distance kind of person, not like long short, but like he's not doing marathons. He's doing like he's doing.
I'm not sure if he's doing
5Ks.
competitive marathons, but
Okay.
he does do cross country as well. But he is better. I think he is better at track.
Okay.
In the 8 mile and 32 primarily.
That's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Insane.
Did you ever have to kind of, to Nick's question too, of like going to Wood and it being a super competitive athletic school, did you ever have to feel that pressure to like perform at that level or to kind of get that attention away from is soccer a spring sport out here as well?
No, fall.
So competing against football, like, did you ever have to feel that you had to like get that big win or like keep up with the tradition and grab the attention from your school?
Yeah. Definitely as an underclassman, because football was massive my freshman and sophomore year. They kind of dipped my junior and senior year. But that's when soccer was also huge. Soccer freshman year, we won the PCL. I was on JV at the time. So we're like, okay, the winning is the standard at here. So yeah, underclassmen definitely. And then honestly, the upperclassmen, wow, you're underclassmen, just like took your underwriting, like, okay, this is what you have to do. Do A, B, and C, and you're gonna be just fine. And then eventually, I think it was my sophomore year probably, where again that core group that was on my club team all made varsity as a sophomore class, and those seniors like kind of took us under their wings because there weren't a lot of juniors on varsity at the time. There were actually a lot on JV. And like, okay, you guys, you're going to have 2 years to knock it out of the park. Now, junior year, we all know what happened then. But then senior year, nicknamed the comeback year, was definitely something special. And yeah, I know you're going to ask about extracurriculars at the end, but I'll go into this right now. At Wood, I was also heavily involved, just like I am here at Cabrini. Student council president there. And that's kind of really where it started. Junior year, when I was running for president, I nicknamed next year, my senior year, the comeback year. And I think that just carried everything. It carried everything. It carried sports. It carried extracurriculars. It carried academics. Just everything just carried over.
Your administration had a campaign slogan.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. I say let's transition a little bit to Cabrini. Where I want to go with this, tell me about how you got to Cabrini. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that Dallas was at the big game when you went up against Trent in your club circuit. How did that connection to Cabrini happen? And then walk me through your first couple weeks on campus and kind of getting adjusted as a full sport athlete too, because you have it completely different. Yeah. We get a little bit of that adjustment period to college.
Yeah, totally.
You get there before college starts.
Everyone.
Yep. How did Dallas approach it? Was it? I mean, give us the whole process.
Yeah. So. Everyone, starts by emailing all the coaches we're looking at. And actually, one of my old assistant coaches, Glenn Jaskowitz, he was actually one of the old Cabrini coaches. He is the leading goal scorer in Cabrini history in the Hall of Fame here. Yep. And so he didn't really like say, hey, look here, but it was on the radar. Like, oh, like he went here, he coached here. Great coach, great. Obviously, I've never seen him play, but obviously a great player if he's, the leading goal scorer at Cabrini. And so it was always in the back of my mind. And then, going through the list, looking for small D3 schools, that was definitely one of the things under I'd say 3,000 kids, what I was looking for, somewhere where I can really make an impact. So I basically, popped on a list, started sending a bunch of emails, and just Cabrini was on that list. I'm pretty sure maybe, I think my mom had mentioned, like, hey, just take a look here, email the coach. I was like, all right, sure, yeah, keep an open mind. It's probably junior year at this point, where the recruiting process really started to pick up. And then end of junior year is when that final was, where Coach Dallas saw me. And then that summer ended up coming up for a official, or not official, that makes no sense. Take a tour with, Kenzie gave me my tour, actually. And then met with Bond after, Coach Bond, who recently also left.
Dog.
And then, hashtag admissions right there.
Yo, beast. That's an OG crew. For reference, Tom will probably bring it up, but we worked in the Cabrini admissions department together. So just reminiscing on the good old days.
I know. And then about a couple weeks later, I think I met officially with Coach Dallas, where then he was like, oh, I saw you play here, and here. I was at your championship game. And so, I that's when I officially got my offer to play at Cabrini. And really then that was actually my first offer to play soccer in college. And then continued down the recruiting path, went through all senior year, did all that. And then I was really starting to narrow it down, what I liked, and really just feel when you step on Cabrini's campus. It's something special for sure. It was definitely in my top 3, and then really it came down to money. Financials. What had the best financial aid package, and Cabrini was in the lead. So it was a no-brainer. I actually did an overnight visit as well during Christmas keg crawl. I
remember this.
I was with it was me and Sharky. We both had overnight together. I stayed with TJ. Shout out TJ. Huge influence on me getting here, and just had a great time with everyone. Met the entire team, and really just had an overall great experience. And then our clinic was one of the clinics was actually the next day, and me and Sharky were talking afterwards, and we're like, "Are we thinking the same thing here?" He's like, "Yeah, we're thinking the same thing."
That's awesome.
He actually committed, I think, a couple days before me, and then I think maybe Coach Dallas maybe texted me one night and was like, "Hey, if there's anything else you need, just let me know." And I called him up right after that. I was like, "I'm not going to drag this out any longer. Like, I want to come to Cabrini." So yeah, that was pretty much how I ended up at Cabrini. Unfortunately, had to tell a couple other coaches, sorry, I'm heading to Cabrini. And then really my first couple weeks on campus. Let's see. So, as fall athletes, we get here about a week and a half, 2 weeks before everyone else. So it's just men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball, and field hockey on campus, and cross country. for all 7 of our cross country runners. So really, actually, you're making a whole new friend group before anyone else gets there. I already knew Sharky because of my overnight. I met Hunter, my roommate, kind of by chance. We were at Accepted Students Day and walked up to him. I knew he was going to be there. I was like, "Hey, are you Hunter?" And he's like, "Yeah, oh, you're Dom, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got a roommate?" I was like, "No, you got a roommate?" It's like, "Dude,
daps each other up.
Want to be my roommate?" We're like, "Hell yeah!" And we have a great roommate dynamic. And so yeah, it was how when girls pick roommates, they're like, let me find out everything about them. Like,
Guys are so easy.
I didn't know a thing about Hunter.
That was like with my roommate Wyatt my freshman year. We were talking in the group chat because we were in the honors college, and so I sent a message in because you had to have an honors roommate. And I'm like, "Yo, if anyone else is in the honors college, hit me up. I guess we have to be together." And he was like, "Yo, I am." And so we were talking back and forth, and it was easy enough. It was like, "So we're just gonna do it. We're gonna send it in." Yeah. I'm like, "Fuck it, I guess we have to." And then for the next couple months, periodically, we just text back and forth, "So you're from Maryland? What's that like? Oh, I see you're doing this out in Seattle. What's that like?" And I didn't meet him until literally move-in day. I walk into the door. I had moved in some stuff the day before because I had to ship it all out. And I walk upstairs and my heart's fucking racing. So I'm like, this is the guy I'm going to live with all year. I hope he's a beauty. And walk in, just fucking a big Haney smile. And yo! Dapped him up, whatever, said what's up, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is still the man.
Yeah, Nick, I agree. So much easier. So much easier.
So easy. Yeah, me and Lenny, we were easy as shit. Just easiest year of my life.
Well, I was talking with Eamon actually today about how some of our roommate dynamics our freshman year, and I was like, there's probably 3 groups that actually had a great relationship, and it was Nick and Lenny, me and Wyatt, and then I think Dorian and Clado, who they still live together now.
I mean, OC.
Yeah, I mean,
and they always will.
Yeah, literally. But it was just because we were on the same page about everything.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone else would have their roommate drama. I don't know if it was the same it had to be with the soccer team where it's oh, this person does this, it pisses me off, blah, blah, blah. And we were literally just no, I honestly have nothing I can complain about him. We leave each other alone. We do stuff together when we want to do stuff together. Some of the best moments are when we're literally just both chilling in our room, fucking TV on. We're both in our own world. And then it's some big breaking news happens. It's yo, did you see the Clippers won? Yeah, actually I did. It's we're back to our own world.
Yep, exactly.
The best.
Yeah.
It's a great dynamic.
Yeah, especially it was so crazy because you're going in completely random. I knew him and I Snapchatted him a couple times, but I don't even know when Hunter goes to sleep or anything. Usually I'm all right, I'll tone out like midnight-ish, like normal. He's same thing, like literally same thing. Oh, what do you eat? Anything. Great, same. Like, where do you want to go to war?
You mentioned your mom and dad. Did you mention a sibling? Do you have any siblings?
Yeah. I have a little brother, Enzo. He's currently a senior.
That's right.
A senior at Wood. Yep.
Duh. Yeah. So you've lived with people that weren't your parents before. Is what I was going to get at.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always good to have.
Yeah, and actually, Hunter also has a little brother, also a senior in high school.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, super relatable to you at least.
Exactly.
Is that something that like you guys clicked on like immediately? It's just like, are you? And you're also the oldest. Is he the oldest?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So
that's
a lot of shit.
Exactly.
It's a lot of similarities.
So living on campus, for the first week and a half, I actually only knew one other person going to Cabrini, Alyssa DeGeorge. She was on the women's soccer team last year, and so we were like, all right, I guess we're gonna go do this in college. Like, we were really good friends in high school. She was, PCL. She's a great soccer player, PCL MVP, and it's like, all right, yep, we're going to the same school. Like, great, we're gonna meet all new friends. Probably be in the same friend group and everything. So, so that was the only person I knew going in. So meeting a whole bunch of new friends, especially in the first week and a half, is actually almost easier because there's no one else there. So met with all the freshman soccer players, field hockey. I think there was only like 2 volleyball players in my class. So really it was just a casual time. And then when everyone else moved in, we're like, oh crap, like this is college now. Now everyone's here, and our floor. Shout out to the N hallway, the 3N hallway in East. Steven, our RA, and he's the boy. Where we just, our doors were always open. Anyone could walk in at any time, especially Steven's, where it's like Steven always had a sports game on, no matter what day it was. Didn't even know how he got these sports games on his TV half the time. But always would just pop in, and next thing you know, everyone's friends, everyone's in the same group chat, in the same Snapchat group chat, where we just send, random shit in every once in a while that's going on around campus, and really just, become a family at the end of the day.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, there's nothing like that first day where, like, for us, it was our, like, orientation stuff, and it's just the freshmen on campus. Mm-hmm. You're meeting all these people, and, like, you're putting names to faces, or, like, you're seeing faces and being like, okay, I've been staring at you through a phone for the last,
yeah, you follow them on Instagram or something.
Literally. The only person that I had met in person prior to Cabrini was Nick. Mm-hmm. I met him at a tournament one time when we were out here, and I think you texted me first. You were like, "Oh, are you going to be at this thing?" I'm like, ironically, yes, I am. And he said to come up to the table. We're just like shooting the shit for like 20 minutes. And again, I was like, "Holy fuck! Like, this is awesome. This is amazing." And
Nick's probably like, let me send a text to this weirdo in Seattle,
dude. No, because it was like, I forget what happened, but like I think I texted you like, "Yo, are you coming out east for any tournaments?" Something like that, or you were going out east for. You said something, and I responded to you, and then it was that day in Garland. He asked if I could work that tournament, and it just so happened to
happened to work out.
Yeah, you were playing.
Great.
I forget if it was Cityside or if it was for the
Cityside.
Okay, it was Cityside
because that was that 22-21 team.
I didn't know if it was the Classics team.
Oh, I wish that Classics team was so much fun. That was like a select like D3 commits where we all just went down to play a tournament our senior year after like our eligibility technically ran out, but one tournament let us do it. So it was all across the country, like these D3 commits. We were just playing together.
That's
Had
sick.
A blast. Although we played against D1 and D2 commits in the same tournament for the same team. So like,
how filthy were they?
Oh, the D1 team was nuts. It was crazy. They had the guy from Malvern Prep who's now at Dartmouth, and he was like Malvern's leading scorer, like unbelievable. He was pulling some nut shit that I've never seen from a lacrosse stick in person. The goalie was going to Syracuse, and like honestly, actually, I will say the Syracuse goalie was not that good. Like we're playing against him, and we're like, there's no shot this guy's going to keep us. Like, no offense, but we're a bunch of D3 rats, and we're low key like getting a ball past them. The defenders were insane though.
Really,
Marist.
That's sick. I wish soccer did something like that, where it's just like everyone comes together to just be put on a team. That's actually really cool.
So I'll give a shout out. It's Grace Sunderland who started it. He's a guy from Bellevue High School, and now he's at Babson College. He's their face-off guy. He started this whole classics program as like just an elite select summer team. So he recruits guys from all around. He's got teams going back to like 2029 right now, where he'll just like DM kids on Instagram and be like, yo, you want to go win a tournament? And he'll bring kids from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Nevada, all the way to like he'll pull kids from the East Coast for like these D1 teams and just be like, yo, you want to go beat up on people?
Yeah.
Sign them up for like a shitty tournament that they'll dominate, and they just win championships.
That's sick.
It's a little bit controversial with some like city side. We're okay with it. A lot of our guys play classics, but we do tell them we're like, just realize like it's not that competitive, right? Like you're not going and playing the top level teams. You're going to win a tournament.
Exactly.
Which is fun though. It's a blast. And I mean, when I did it, the D3 team, I get to play with a bunch of my best friends for the last time. I get to meet a bunch of people who I still keep in touch with. This guy from York, when we played them.
I play against them. Yep, exactly.
We played them last year in the NCAA tournament game, and like before the game, we're chatting back and forth, like, yo, best of luck, dog, whatever. After the game, came up to me, like, you know, he also like popped off in that game. Fucking daps me up, whatever. He's like, hey, you know, head up, blah, blah, blah. Like, instead of celebrating with his team, just saying what's up to me.
Yep.
And literally the only connection we had is we played 2 days together in Salt Lake City. And he also texted me when the Cabrini thing went down. He's like, so what are you going to do, blah, blah, blah. Do you need help? I'm like, you're a beast. Like, you're a fucking dog for that. Shout out Eric Burbank if he's going to be listening to this, which you should. He's at RIT now. He's playing with his brother at RIT. So
Eric sounds like a goat.
He's a amazing human being and a really good lacrosse player.
Shout out Eric.
That's our Lax Lounge, Lax Talk for not the episode. We're going to talk about lacrosse probably a little bit more too. But back to soccer. Your freshman let's start your freshman year at Cabrini. You kind of instantly got into a pretty solid role, if I'm not mistaken. What was that like, kind of adjusted to the college game, and then really finding your footing going through conference play and into the conference tournament?
Yeah. So for reference, I guess preseason. We'll start a preseason. Come in and I win the beep test as a freshman. One stupid shuttle off of the Cabrini record. Matt Duddy freaking has one shuttle on me. He's gonna hold that over my head forever. He has 16.1 and I have 16.
So what was your beep test? Was yours the one where it's 3 cones and it's like you have to try? We did a stupid one our freshman year with Dustin, and Dustin will admit it was dumb. Was it where you go, like, you have a certain amount of time to get through the first cone and then to the second, like, just way too complicated?
Is that like I know there's multiple beep tests. Like, there's the beep test, and there's the yo-yo test, which
Pacer tests.
I think the beep and the pacer are the same thing.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. There's so many different forms of it.
Yeah.
How did you get 0.1? That's where I'm stuck.
Right. Okay. So in the beep test that we do, so Coach Dallas sent us our whole program. It was like, this is the beep test we're going to do, and it was just a YouTube video. It was like, set your cones 20 meters apart and just run back and forth on the beeps. And so for our beep test, for example, level 1 is 7 back and forths at like 9-second pace, right? So you got point A to point B in 9 seconds, point B to point A, another 9 seconds. So that would be 2 shuttles. And then so like level 2 would be 8 shuttles in 8 seconds. And then eventually like level 10 is like 11 shuttles in like, say, 5 seconds. And the seconds keep on going down, but the shuttles keep on going up. So we had to get to level 15, and kids are dropping like flies. It's a hot day. And so, for example, I think level 14 is 14 shuttles at like 4.5 seconds. You have to get like from point A to point B, 20 meters in 4.5 seconds. And you're just, busting your balls to get there. And finally hit level 15, and I'm like, well, I can't stop now. I'm just going to keep on running. And level 15, for some reason, is 16 shuttles at like 4 seconds or something like that.
So you're doing like, you have 4 seconds to go down, 4 seconds back 16 times?
And that would be level 15, yep. So then once it says a number, like it'll be like 15-4, 15-5. Like, so that's how you like count it. So like level 15 is like 15, like you get to like level 15, 15. So that would be your score. So Duddy got to level 16 1, and I got to just level 16 because I slipped on the turn back. I'm still pissed about it to this day. But I had that down to a science when I was training for this over the summer, where you know how many steps it takes to get from one side to the other on any specific level. And really you're just jogging up until level 10. Once you hit level 10, then you're like, all right, now I got to start picking this up a little bit. And the way at least I do it is each level is about a minute long. And so that's how I mentally did. I'm like, once I hit level 13, I was like, oh, I can run for 2 more minutes. I can do that. Once you hit level 15, it's hurting, but I can run for another minute. So yeah, that's how we did it. So came in, won the beep test. And it was funny because me and Sharky were the last two in our group standing. And I'm a little bit ahead, and you might be able to see this on the Cabrini men's soccer Instagram. And I'm yelling at him. I'm like, Sharky, like, catch up to me. Let's go, blah, blah, blah. I'm just yelling at him as I'm running back and forth, and he's, like, dragging behind me. Because, I mean, I think he was, like, a shuttle or two off of 15. And I'm like, just yelling at him as he keeps on going back and forth. And then, it was just fun games and stuff. So won that, but didn't really see the field for the first majority of the season, for at least for the first half of the season. As defenders, you don't really sub the defense in soccer. But I was not ready to play college soccer when I got there. The pace of play, like I could say, my touch still not great to this day, but needed improvement. I think I was, maybe some tunnel vision at some points, where maybe I don't see this passing lane, whereas like someone like Jake Scully sees it all the time. So I really had to like learn and watch what they were doing, the kids in front of me, and so really didn't see the field at all. And then about just start of conference play, we were on a bad stretch, ended up losing our first conference game, and then we're like, I think Duddy and MJ, our captains, went to talk to Dow and was like, all right, like we need to mix some things up here. Next thing you know, we play Marywood on the Saturday, and 4 freshmen are starting. It's me at center back, Tyler Greck, aka Lippy, at right back, Hunter's at center mid, and Sharky's at who's either at center mid or center attacking mid. And we come out firing. I mean, the energy in this game in the locker room beforehand was nuts. It is 3-0 within the first 12 minutes of the game, and it's astonishing because me and Tyler, at least for sure, the first time we got a corner, I think, and you could hear Trubinsky on the mic upstairs. I was like, great opportunity to put another one in the onion bag. That was his go-to line. And
you want to know the story of why he has that line?
Yes, I do.
Tyler Bond would tell me every fucking day to say something about onion sacks.
No
when
way.
Talking about the net. I kid you not. He would come into the admissions office after every single soccer game and be like, when are you going to do it? When are you going to talk about the onion sacks?
That
he'd
is
show me
funny.
a video of British announcers and how, like, on a big strike, they'll be like, into the back of the onion sack that one goes. And he's like, that'd be hilarious. Like, you have to do it. And I was like, if it happens, it happens. But, like, I'm not going to force it. And, like, that just doesn't really sound like me. So I don't know if I could squeeze it in.
Yeah.
So the fact that you say that is actually hilarious.
It was real funny.
It's 1,000% from Bond. Bond definitely told him to do that.
I may have to text Bond and be like, yo, it was you about the onion bag? That is funny. I never knew that.
And if it's not, then it was just me. But he talked to me almost every day about it. I would love it when he'd come into the office and do like recaps with me, because he like would, especially when he moved to grad assistant office, because he was in the undergrad assistant or undergrad admissions, I should say, my freshman year. So we'd always just come out of his office, and like when he wanted a break, we'd shoot the shit. Yeah, and he just asked me like every single question on the planet, like pick my brain, and he'd do it same thing in grad admissions. So. No, that's hilarious. But as you were saying, you hear Trubinsky from the heavens.
Yeah. And I think it may have been Sharky that put the first one in, and Nolan put the second one in, or something like that. And I'm in on this corner, and ball miraculously drops to my foot. I just crush it with my left foot and goes in. I'm like, because it took me 4 years to score a goal in high school, and it took me 8 minutes into my first ever minutes to score a goal in college.
So hold on. Your first game touching the field was when you started.
Yep.
What's that like going like in your mind? You said the energy for pre-game was like insane, but how did you keep your composure as holy fuck, I'm going to play college soccer for the first time?
Yeah, definitely the nerves were running through my body, especially because I also did not tell my mom that I was starting because the day before we usually, run through, walkthroughs, and he runs out the starting lineup and we see the starting lineup go out here. And we're like, yo, are we actually starting tomorrow? Like, is this a joke? And so I told Enzo and my dad, I'm like, don't tell mom. Like, I want to be surprised that it's my first start. And apparently, Nick Booth at the time told his dad, it's like, yo, like, the freshmen are finally starting. Like, we're revamping everything. And Mr. Booth told my mom and was like, yeah, this is great about Dominic. Like, he's going in. My mom's sitting there confused. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, probably not. And here's my name get called over the loudspeaker, number 25, freshman, Dom Petruzzelli. And my mom's in shock, she said, as she's listening to this. And then to do that in the first couple of minutes, it was definitely an experience. Because this first game, there's more to this first game. And so yeah, unreal that I could just score within the first couple of minutes of my first ever minutes of my college career. Which is great. And then about 20 minutes later, going up for a head ball. I have the video. I have to show you this video. It's hysterical. Well, my mom won't think that, but going for this head ball. We up against Marywood. Marywood forward comes in, undercuts me while I'm up in the air, and I do a flip midair, land on both my wrists, sprain both my wrists, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, like I can't feel my arms. Sean, the trainer, comes out. He's like, all right, like I just need you to squeeze my hands. So I did that. He's like, all right, you're good to go. I was like, all right, like, are you sure? Because I can't feel my elbows. And he's like, no, you're good. You got everything. I was like, all right. About 5 minutes later, look down. My wrists are blown up. It's like, what are they? Is it hematobin, something in your wrist where like, whole lot of blood just gets in there. I look down and like, that is not supposed to be there. So I like kneel down. I was like, Sean, you got to check this out. He goes, yeah, you're not going back in today, bud. I was like, you're telling me 24 minutes into my debut and I can't go back into this game? He's like, yeah, sit down. I got to tape you up. Tapes me up, puts ice on it. And that was my first ever minutes.
Within 24 minutes, you had 1 goal and 2 sprained wrists?
Yep. Had to wear wrist braces for the rest of the season for the most part. So that was that, but did not miss any time due to the sprain wrist. Just wrapped it up and wore the braces the rest of the season. We played Marywood in the quarterfinals again in the year, and the forward's like, yo, what happened to your wrist? I was like, you fucking did this to me. You don't remember this? He's like, nah, dude, like, what are you talking about? I was like, go back, go to minute, like, whatever, go to minute 24, you see me flip in the air. Like, you literally undercut me. And, we had to laugh about it. But yeah, the rest of the season went great. We rolled with that starting lineup for the rest of the way. Really gave us a boost. Except for that Marymount game, where maybe the worst soccer game I've ever played in my entire career. Like, it was real bad on me. So went well the rest of the year. I think solidified myself as one of the guys on the back line. And ended up beating out a couple upperclassmen for the starting spot, as well as the other freshmen who were starting at the time. And we were real pumped because after that game, we got back to the dorm, and because it was the 2 pairs of roommates that started, and we're like, yo, that was kind of nuts. Like, the 4 of us just started because the 4 of us became really, really close. Probably where it was going to be like the 4 of us most likely would have gotten off-campus house together when we were upperclassmen. At least that was the plan. And it was just an unreal experience in that moment. And then the rest of the season went fairly well until, we ended up losing in the semifinals that year in penalty kicks, a heartbreaker. But overall, just a really exciting freshman year for me, and a great building block to start the college career for sure.
Yeah, that Newman game, I was watching it live, and you say heartbreaking, and that doesn't even begin to describe it. In PKs on the last one, it was to tie it up, and just missed wide.
Yeah, because that game was wild too, because they scored first. We made a mistake in the back, and they capitalized on it. Then Scully has a header in mid-first half, then come down in like dying seconds of the first half. And Scully, he has this massive throw, and usually I go into the box for it, and I smoke the crossbar off of like a volley, and we're like, oh my god, like go back halftime, and they actually score again. We were hurting ourselves that game for sure, and down 2-1, we score a goal offsides, and finally we get the breakthrough. Duddy, I believe it was, gets the goal off a header, so ties it up, and then another offsides goal by us, and we're like, you've got to be kidding me. Arguably offsides, arguably. But whatever. Go to overtime. Still scoreless in overtime. Then going to PKs, and just went back and forth. I think it came down to the 7th PK shooter, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot of saves, a lot of misses.
All makes, and I think both, maybe their goalie made one save and one of their players smoked it over the crossbar.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened.
I think I remember that because it was the last shot. It was just he missed it wide of the goal.
Yeah,
and I was watching, and I think I literally was just like, oh, no,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Like that poor guy, because he immediately I think just dropped to the turf and just started bawling his eyes out.
You would not think that he made every single one in practice. You were like, if I had to put someone on the line to step up the PK, I'd pick him. 10 out 100 out of 100 times probably.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You said it's a mental game. It's one of the toughest.
It really, really is.
It's a one-on-one, and every little misstep that you take, it gets amplified there.
Yeah.
Sticking with your freshman year, you hinted at this earlier. You're heavily involved. Tell me about how you got so involved, because I thought that I did a lot at Cabrini, and I thought that I got involved pretty fast. Give me a little rundown of what you did in your freshman year as a Cavalier.
Yeah. Well, I always say this. I used to say this on every tour. Specifically on small campuses, you really have to be proactive to get your college experience. If you want something done, you really got to go do it. On your own for the most part. If you want, I don't know, chicken wings in the calf, go ask the chef. And so really that's really where it all started. Where I know that if I wanted to have a real college experience outside of athletics, I had to get involved. Whether that be getting jobs on campus, because I was an ambassador in high school as well. And I was like, all right, I'll do that in college. I even talked to Kenzie about it when I first got my tour. And then she was like, yeah, I get paid for this. I was like, you get paid?
Best job ever.
To be an ambassador? That is a great gig. What was that, $10 an hour, right?
8.
It
was pretty bad. But it was worth it. It was worth it.
Highest paying job on campus, though, I think.
No, lifeguard.
No. Lifeguard's higher?
Yeah,
or
way higher.
Tutor's at 10.
Lifeguard's like 13 to 15 an hour. And one of our, shout out the Sebastian Tobias episode, another one of the top tier ones. Listen, if you haven't already, he's a lifeguard right now, and it's literally you do 1 to 2 hour shifts. You sit there. And I don't think anyone's drowned in the 67 years of our institution. So the first day to start is not today.
Yep.
And they get banged for it.
Yeah.
Tommy Vaughn also says he's going to be a lifeguard. So he keeps saying, he's like, oh, I'm going to fucking do that. And it's like, all right, Tom.
But yeah, so I think one of the earlier weeks of my freshman year, there was the activities fair. And, I dragged Hunter to the activities fair after practice one day, and basically was like, yo, just take a look around. So I ended up putting my name down for a couple things. I'm a math major, so I had to join math club. Dr. Brown was sitting right there. He's like, Dom, I need you to join this. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm a nerd at heart. So I have to join. And then also just scanned a application for Student Gov as well, because why not? And then I think like science club as well. I was just putting my name down for anything. And then the job fair was the very next day as well. So tutoring, got my name on the list for eventually a spring tutor, because I had to get through one semester. as well as admissions. I believe Sarah at the time was sitting at the table and was like, yeah, no, I'm like, this is great for you. And actually, Kenzie eventually interviewed me for admissions, so that came all the way back around again.
I think the theme for this episode is just coming full circle.
It might be.
Everything. Because also, like, I was thinking about this, too, when you said you and Hunter met at Accepted Students Day. I vividly remember, it might have been the first or the second, but you come up, because I was working the door, and you came up to me, and you're like, yo, like, you're a huge reason why I chose Cabrini, and I literally just started blushing. I'm like, might be the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but for anyone who doesn't know, Fridge always gave the speech at Accepted Students Day. There was an Honors Accepted Students Day.
And
open houses, yeah. Always the first student speech. And he always does a fantastic job. I mean, you just want to be at Cabrini after you hear those speeches. Because then like someone else goes up there and like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. Usually an administrator goes up there after, it's like, oh my god, like, can we get this day moving along?
You turn the house into a home.
I always joke the way that I would tell people back home. It's like, yeah, they put the kid from Seattle up there because they're like, this kid can come here. You live 20 minutes away. I think you can fucking come here.
Exactly. Yeah, so got heavily involved. Got a couple jobs on campus as well, and even became the SAC rep for the men's soccer team right off the bat. Actually, Britt Runyon, our SAC advisor at the time, she actually taught at Wood back when I was a freshman. I never had her, but was actually close with her because one of my other teachers, they were on like the same floor, and she'd always like pop in during a free period or whatever. And then I saw her one day when I was coming up to watch the spring day for men's soccer, and I was like, didn't you teach at Wood? And she was like, I did. And I was like, how do you know? And I was like, I'm Dom. Like, you're like Miss Runyon, right? And she's like, oh my god, no one ever calls you Miss Runyon here. Please don't ever say that again. I was like, okay. That was a big joke we had. I always called her Miss Runyon when I needed something important done. And yes, she was a huge factor in getting me involved in the student athlete advisory committee world, specifically for men's soccer. They were looking for underclassmen from the men's team because it was Duddy and TJ, both seniors at the time. Like, we need to get the underclassmen involved here. That was on the athletic side. And then, yeah, really, so got accepted as a senator in student gov, ended up being on math club, got hired at a couple jobs. And then really, like, any event that was at Cabrini, it's like, hey, why not show up? Because you can always leave, but if you don't show up, then something cool happens. You're like, oh man, I missed it. It's like big prize bingo.
Big prize bingo.
It's like, oh yeah, if I win, I win. If I don't, I just played bingo and got free food for an hour. Like, it's a win-win situation.
That's a great way to look at things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was pretty much how I got involved on campus. Really, I was just looking for something to do outside of athletics because I knew as soon as soccer season ended, I was going to be like, all right, well, what do I do from 3 to 5 every single day when I don't have practice? And those are the answers where it's like, hey, all right, maybe I can work or, give a tour during that time, when I want to procrastinate on my homework.
Dude, literally, I would do my homework usually in the office, or I'd bookmark it where it's like, okay, I'll do this assignment when I'm working. And it would always be the days where I get like massive tours, and I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Like, now I literally can't because I'm going to be walking around campus for an hour. By the time I get back, I get to leave because my shift's up.
Exactly.
You talk about being proactive with stuff. Another thing you have to do when you try to get involved is you have to take advantage of opportunities granted to you. And pretty big opportunity was granted to you last year on the SAC side of things to become the national rep for the Atlantic East Conference. How did that process kind of work out? And tell me a little bit about what that role involves and what you've been able to do with it so far.
Yeah. So as Fridgie just said, I'm the National SAC Associate Member for the Atlantic East Conference, which is the conference that Cabrini's in. And so getting involved in that was kind of in the spring of last year. And when Britt Runyon, we had a SAC meeting one time, and she was like, for any underclassmen in here, they're looking for someone to be the national SAC rep for the conference. The girl from Newman, I think she was a softball player, she was graduating and her term limit was up. and they're looking for someone new. And while I'm sitting there, I'm licking my chops. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm here for. This is exactly what I'm here for, to do these things. And really, I think I was only able to do that because of the smaller school environment. If I was at a big school, I'd be probably one of 100 freshmen in that room. But since going to a small school where, everyone knows your name or something, I went up to Britt after. I was like, hey, what do I have to do for this? She's like, okay, great. Just send me a resume, and I just have to submit this form basically. And I was like, all right, great. And she's like, all right, so I'm pretty sure everyone in the conference submits about 5 names or something like that. And then Jess, who is the conference commissioner, we'll go over the applications, and figure out how to move forward. I was like, all right, great. So immediately sent her my resume. Well, first I had to update my resume. So immediately sent that to her. And she's like, all right, great. I'll do this. And didn't hear anything back from it. Wasn't even sure if Britt had even submitted it. I was like, all right, throw my name in the hat, whatever. Probably won't even get it. I'm just a freshman. I've only been here for 6 months. And so then the soccer team's actually in Africa at this time. And on our international trip, get a random email from one of the national SAC liaisons. It's congratulations, you've been selected as your representative for the conference. Here's the dates we're going to meet, RSVP. And I'm like, do they have the wrong email? I don't even know what's it's completely lost in my head. I'm not even sure what's going on. Immediately text Britt. I was like, what's going on? Realizing that South Africa is 7 hours ahead. And so I'm sitting there. I think it was afternoon in Africa, but it was in the middle of the night here. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to hear this for another day. So finally hear back from Britt. She's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I submitted everything. Oh, you got it. You got the national SAC rep from the conference. I was like, that is sick. That is awesome. So go through that whole process, submit all my, forms, my resume for that. And next thing you know, hop on a Zoom, and they're like, all right, you guys are the only reps from your conference. I'm thinking there's 3 reps from each conference. And they're like, no, you are the lone student athlete from your conference to represent all the other student athletes. I'm like, wow, I have some massive shoes to fill, because there are, I'd say close to 1,000, maybe over 1,000 athletes.
Well over 1,000, yeah. In
our conference, among the 7 schools. And I just get to represent their thoughts and everything. It's unbelievable. And so some things I do for the conference is, what I've done recently is connect all the executive boards of each campus SAC. So the giant Microsoft Teams link that I have set up, where we had a Zoom meeting over the summer. Just really got a gauge about what each campus SAC was doing, along those lines. What we can do, and they actually had a lot of questions for us regarding Cabrini closing. How what are you guys doing because of all this? And we're treating it as a normal year. We're going to do all the things we're going to do, and do it to the best of our ability with the limited numbers. And so yeah, that was one of the first things I've done because all these campus SACs were disconnected, and actually at our conference SAC, Lexi and Oscar were the reps from Cabrini for this semester. I think you and Belinda are going next semester, right?
Heck to the yeah.
And we sat down and we're like, okay, Dom, we just connected everyone. There are every school was represented at the conference, and we just shared our thoughts, what we were going to do. And one of the big things this year was SAC legislation. There was a couple laws up on the table across the NCAA that we got to vote on for the first time in history. Student athletes got to vote on legislation, which I think is super, super cool, because not only they get to hear our opinions, we get to make action. We get to put out the plans. One of the laws actually was our partner conference, the AMCC, Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference.
Smooth, wow.
Yeah. Work closely, Jess, our commissioner, and their commissioner work closely, and myself and their national SAC member also work closely. Shout out Molly. I'll send you this link to listen. And they were actually one of the ones that proposed the law. So we got to vote. Molly was like, hey, this is what happened here. And, this is why we're doing this law. I forget the details of it. We already voted on it. And I was like, all right, like, cool. Like, so we brought it back. I had to give a presentation about what was going on. And everyone was like, okay. Like, and then they had to bring that presentation back to their campuses, go over with their full boards, and send it back to me. So it was this whole process about, about like random laws that were going into the NCAA that's going to be in effect next year, or could be in effect. And so that was one of the really, really big things that happened this year with that. Another thing that's going on, if anyone follows, actually, you should follow at D3SAC on Instagram. They're doing mental health minutes right now. One of the working groups we have, mental and physical health. That's the one I'm on. I do all the editing for those videos.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's all you. You may have seen all my stories a couple times. I do all the background editing for those. They send me the videos and their slides and stuff. And I do all that. So I'll actually be on there shortly. We're going to do a special edition physical health episode instead of mental health minutes. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, so I do all the editing, the music for that. Usually I sit down every Sunday. This time I had to get it done early. I was bored at the front desk one time. I was like, let me just bang this out real quick. It was like a 1 minute video. And I work really closely with one of the leaders on that working group, Greg. He's actually a football player from, I don't even know where. These kids are from all over the country.
There's over 300 Division III schools, and all of them come together. It's crazy. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, we are the Division III is the biggest conference, or the biggest division in the NCAA, and and the most conferences as well. So I get to meet amazing people, and they are awesome. One of my close friends who I met, she actually goes to Juniata, so close. So we were on the same flight to Indianapolis over the summer. I was like, I've never flown alone before. Like, South Africa was my first ever plane ride. So going to Indianapolis was my second ever, and I was going alone. It's like, do you know what you're doing? She's like, yeah, like, just follow me, like. And it was afternoon, so I met her for the first time. She's like, so Cabrini boy, what are you doing? And I was like, I saw this question coming. I really saw this question coming. But yeah, so I have made great friendships there. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff that's happening with National SAC. And I still have about 2.5 years on my term, so I actually get to do it throughout my entire college career. It's a 3-year term, so I'll be done in January of senior year, which is cool. And each year, the convention where you submit your votes for these things and different events happen there is a different place. So in January, I actually get to go to Phoenix for this convention, and then Washington, D.C. is the year after that, and then my final year is in Nashville.
Wow.
So that's great times, and by that time, hopefully I'm a pro at flying alone. And
it's not that hard. My comment for that was going to be like, that was your second ever flight. Like, that still blows me away.
My family drives everywhere.
And I mean, that makes sense.
So my mom is claustrophobic. So we always drive everywhere. Drove to Florida, drove to Chicago. Not that you would fly to Pittsburgh, but drove to Pittsburgh, Boston as well. But I think it makes those car rides so much better because you're like, wow, we get to see everything. What's going on around here?
I agree with that.
Yeah, if you're on a plane, you just get to see clouds.
So I will argue the other side of that. Like, I'm a huge proponent of flying long distances over driving because, like, when you drive somewhere and you go 6 hours, like, realistically for me, that gets you across the state. That gets you to another state. For here, it gets you a long ways away. You get up to, like, Boston in that time, which is pretty sick. But for me, I'm like, okay, if I drive 6 hours, I'm getting to Idaho or I'm getting to maybe Oregon.
Right.
If I fly 6 hours, I'm on the other side of the country. And I just think that's so much cooler.
That's the West Coast and you talking.
Yeah, literally. Where it's like when I fly, I know I'm going somewhere like very far away. Or even like an hour and a half, 2 hour flight to California. Like, I'm not thousands, but like I'm really far away. Like, it's sick and it's that fast. So I'm a huge flyer. Yeah. I got my miles racking up on my Alaska Airlines visa, making sure that I take advantage of those points. I'm that guy. Now I want you to talk about this summer. Kind of touched on it a little bit. What was your reaction to everything going down with Cabrini, because I mean, especially I think for people like you who are so heavily involved, and I mean, I can speak from the perspective of someone who is an admissions counselor, like not a counselor, ambassador, like selling the school to people, and like really every time I would take a tour or like meet with somebody, I would fall in love with the place, and I would realize like and remember why I'm here every single time.
Yeah, you remember the beauty,
literally. So, what was your reaction and the process of you saying, "I'm coming back for this final year"?
Yeah. Well, first off, it was heartbreaking to me. I mean, to do the things that I did in my first year, and especially in just only 1 year, and to fall in love with a place that I call home and so many others call home, it was real tough. Not gonna lie. The day, June 23rd. Yeah, we all remember it way too well.
Infamy.
And it was so Friday mornings. I'm actually off from my internship usually over the summer, and do my normal 6 a.m. runs. Actually, I was running the beep test that morning, and went to Upper Moreland High School. They have a turf field there. Was running, set up my cones, and run the beep test. Actually passed the level that we needed to be. So I sent a text to the group chat. It's like, now I'm talking. It's like 7:15 in the morning. No one else is up. No one else is up running. And send the text. Let's fucking go. Like, get hype, everyone. Make sure you're running. Like, we're fucking winning the championship. No more semifinal shit. Blah, 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 blah. And about, I think, maybe it was like 8:30. So I was in the middle. I did like soccer drills after. And I'm starting to wrap up my workout. And it was someone sent the D3 Sports link into the group chat. It was like, guys, is this real? I look at it. I'm like, D3 Sports, like I've never even heard of this website before. Like, I mean, I was scrolling through some of their archives. I was like, it seems pretty reasonable, but my God, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna let it affect my day. I just had a great morning, and we'll go from here. Drive home, and my mom was like, what is this? I was like, I don't even know. I mean, I'm getting texts, I'm getting calls from everyone, my family, friends, people who don't even go to Cabrini, who've only heard of Cabrini through me. And it's like, Dom, is this real? Like, I'm like, I have no clue. Like, this just randomly popped up. And then I think it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We get that unfortunate email from Helen. And so the rumors were true. And so everyone goes into panic. Dom, what are you doing? Are you staying? I'm texting other people. What are you doing? What's your plan? I'm texting Hunter. I call Hunter. It's like, what's going on? I'm like, all right, everyone's got to relax for a second. There was a lot of energy, and no one knew what to do. So we get a group me message from Coach Dallas, and he's like, all right, like, if you can make this, great. We're gonna have a Zoom meeting 7 p.m. sharp tonight. I'm like, all right, like we can settle this down. We'll figure it all out. There's been way worse things in the world than this. But we'll get through it if whatever's gonna happen next. Get on this Zoom meeting, and Dallas is speechless during this. He's like, yeah, like this is true. He's like, I didn't even know beforehand. He's getting emotional as he's talking. I can see everyone else getting emotional as this is happening. I'm getting emotional. My mom's getting emotional right next to me. Even Enzo's getting emotional, who rarely, gets upset. And we're all at the dining room table, and I'm on the Zoom, and he's like, yeah, like this is happening. This is real. And he's like, I want everyone to stay for the one final year. Come out, finish the final season, and and let's do this. And so we're like, okay, all right. And Zoom meeting ends. Take a breath. Turn to my mom on the left. Like, I'm staying.
It was right then and there.
It was right then and there. And my mom, little bit worried. She's like, well, I think we might need to don't make any rash decisions. I just think you should take it real slow. Now, my mom is one of the smartest people I know, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm staying. Like, that's my decision. That's my decision. I'm doing this. And she's like, well, yeah, I think we might need to adjust. And I was like, It's like, all right, well, as much as I don't want to do this, all right. So literally, it was that night, and she like, email some other coaches. It's like, all right, I will. Emailed a whole bunch of coaches, because I obviously I wanted to continue playing soccer at another small a small D3 school, and even a couple of them got back to me that night and was like, hey, fill out this form so I'm able to talk to you and stuff like that. A couple text messages. I was like, all right, like, we'll do this process over again. So it was crazy because you had to apply for the fall and do all this. You had to go through the whole recruiting process in a matter of 2 months, which is something that's spread over usually 2 years. And I am stressed out. I'm like, because on the other hand, I'm like, okay, what if I go back and I don't have a team? There's not enough players. What if, I go back and my classes are canceled? What happens if Dr. Brown leaves, the only math professor that can teach upper level math at Cabrini right now? What's all these things? And really, that's what my mom put into my head. And I'm like, you're right. Like, if something happens that, I don't want to be screwed over if I decide to go back. And so I took this like really, really slow and I think really thorough, on what to do. Even visited a few schools over the summer, had multiple offers to play in the fall season as well. And they were like, we can have you. But on the other side, I'm like, everyone is done recruiting by now. Like everyone's done their processes. No one's looking for incoming sophomores right now. And I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. So, text Hunter every couple of days, text Sharky, text Tyler. And then all these partner schools things start coming, oh, go here. St. Joe's even, I'll match tuition and the credits. And so now I'm hearing, okay, what's my friend group doing? A lot of them, what's nursing doing? Well, my entire friend group on the girls' side, they're all nursing majors. It's like, we got to go now. So they're like, all right. So they all ended up going to Gwynedd, except one. Bella went to St. Joe's. She's an education major, and like, all right, well, okay, now half the friend group's gone. What's up next? Then Mateo. I miss Mateo, and
so much.
I know. He was texting me and Hunter the other day, and he's like, for me, guys, it's a no-brainer. Like, it's not the right fit for me to stay just to, sit there. And so he ended up transferring, right away to actually a new program that was just being started up. He did fantastic there. He won the starting job. So he was done. And then Tyler seemed to be leaning Gwynedd at the time at one point, and then was leaning St. Joe's at one point. So I was like, then Tyler's like, all right, I'm going to go to St. Joe's. Like, I was like, all right, are you sure? It's like, it's not 100%, but I'm heavily leaning there. It's like, all right. Talk to Sharky. Sharky's like, Sharky had recently had surgery to continue playing. He's like, I just got surgery. I want to finish out one last year, and then I'll hang up the boots. And I'm like, all right, that's a good sign because I'm heavily leaning towards staying, and even like I was talking to Lobiondo as well, and because he. All the seniors have 2 years, or what I've had 2 years because of their COVID year. And so he's like, I could go somewhere, get a master's, and play 2 years, because his intention was to play a fifth year at Cabrini. Him and Nolan, I believe, were their intentions. And so I'm on the phone with them constantly, every other day, like any updates, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, like my thoughts, I want to stay, but if something happens that, drastic, I got to go. And they're like, all right, that's pretty much the same. Calling Hunter, and Hunter's gone. He's like, I just want to leave. He's like, I just want to be done. I just want to be done with all this. I can start fresh. It's easier to transfer as a sophomore than as a junior. I'm like, all right, makes sense. Everyone's on their own. As much as I would love to be with everyone was on their own path. And so he's set on pretty much Scranton for the most part. And the captains called a Zoom meeting. And they were like all the seniors are staying. We're like, we're going to finish it out. We're going to stay at Cabrini, whether we have a team or not. I think there's like 12 or 13 of them. then I think Nick D'Achille was on the Lax Lounge before. He came in and was like, I'm staying as well. Like, there's nowhere. I think then Ethan stepped up. Was like, I'm also going to stay. I've dealt with too many injuries. I'm going to play, one last year and maybe go somewhere else, maybe not. But I want to come back. It's like, all right, now it's down to the sophomores and freshmen. So we have 14 guys at that point. And the incoming freshmen, I'm like, they're a lost cause. I mean, why would a freshman come to Cabrini for 1 year? I just think that's not the smartest idea.
I still don't understand it.
Yeah. I think there's like 90 of them still on campus, or 90 total, like 70 on campus, something like that.
Bless their souls.
And I'm like, all right, so ended up, I was texting a few of them throughout the weeks and was like, hey, what's going on with you guys? And like, have other options, but like Cabrini was the choice. And like, all right, okay, that's, good signs that they want to come back and stay for a year. And, end up talking to some of our other recruits, and then later down and send them like a really lengthy message like, hey, what are your thoughts up to now? It's probably about mid-July at this point, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go. It's like, all right, good luck. This sucks. It sucks. We end up because the incoming freshman class, it was a really good class. It was really talented, and they were gonna help us win for sure. And we're losing top recruits at this point. Like there were 5 top tier of them out of like the 8 of them, and we ended up losing 3 of them. I'm like, oh crap! Like you were gonna be like maybe a starter and definitely in our rotation, and so I ended up losing them. But thankfully, Shalev and Riley ended up staying, and honestly cannot thank them enough. And we're like, you guys, that. And then got to the sophomore class. And so for me, I was primarily leaning towards staying. Sharky primarily leaning towards staying. Same with AJ, primarily leaning towards staying. And then out of the random, out of thin air, we just get walk-ons. RJ, who played in the PCL. I played against him in high school. He was going to try out in the fall. I think he was going to make the team as well. And he was like, all right, he's a nursing student at Eastern, and then they got that
the waiver.
Yeah, exactly, the waiver to play at Cabrini. So he's on. Another walk-on, Mel, who tried out in the spring. He now on the team. And then another one, also Colin, who I played again in high school, went to Judge. So now he's on the team now. So now we're adding bodies. And so really looking up. We're like, all right, let's do one last pickup. Like, okay, go drive up to Cabrini. I have a dislocated shoulder at this point, so I'm actually not able to play. But Dal's like, all right, like we're gonna do a photo shoot. And we got fresh new uniforms too, and we're like, all right, so these will be our media days. They're like, okay, sure. Come up, take the pictures. On the way there, Hunter Snapchats me, and he's like, I can tell he's upset, and Scranton just wasn't gonna work out for him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Hunter's staying because I think he was one of the key pieces in our squad to lift us to get to the championship like we did this year. I'm like, oh my, okay, all right. Now, it stinks for sure, but I'm glad you're coming back. And so that day it was like, okay, all right, we got 24 guys. 24 guys. And okay, enter August. So we go into preseason, sit down in the locker room. Dal walks in. It's like, there's 24 guys in here. We're about to run into a fire that we know is coming, burning down on us, and there's nothing we can do about it. And you could hear a pin drop in this locker room, and you could just feel like, holy crap! Like we really are about to go do this for the final time ever. And yeah, so that was for the majority of preseason. It's like, okay, it's go time here. So we're starting to get geared up. And yeah, so first couple of games, preseason games, beat Arcadia. So we're like, okay, it's a good start. Rosemont, real tough team. Ended up losing 3-2 in that game. But again, good showing for the slim numbers that we have. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we returned 8 out of 11 starters. And then I think like 6 rotation guys. So we had a squad to definitely last us through, but the injury bug always hits the teams. So go through the season, whatever. Friday night for opening night against York, you could feel the tension when you stepped on Edith Rob Dixon Field, and we were picking our walkout song the week before, and we're like, what should we do as our walkout song? And Loeb texting group chat, he's like, I got this. The Last Dance intro, Michael Jordan from the Bulls, the '96 Bulls. It's like, that's great. As we walk out onto the field, we just hear. I mean, you could play it in the background and during editing, but you could just hear that, and you're like, wow, this is the first time we're ever going to walk on Edith Rob Dixon Field as a program. All right, York, a solid squad to say the least. They were top 25 ranked a couple times during the season last year, and we're battling back and forth. And finally, I think maybe like the 70th minute or something like that, finally a breakthrough on a free kick, Duddy header, eruption at Edith Rob. You were calling the game, right? Yep.
Hell,
You were.
yeah.
Yep. I knew you were.
I put that call on my LinkedIn because I was like, that was fire.
Mhm.
It was perfect. Everything had built up into that moment, and it was, as some people say, it was the crescendo of like that tension and that anticipation of like, are we gonna do it? Like, is this gonna be a rough year? And then Duddy goes over. Also, I almost didn't post it on my LinkedIn because after the goal, Duddy goes over to the fence, jumps
Climbs
up,
on it, yep.
and just starts fucking grinding on the fence, like humping it. And the camera just stays on it for a solid 5 seconds. In retro, like, I didn't see that live. Obviously, I was just fucking going nuts in the booth, like trying to do my thing. And then in post, I was watching that, and I was like, "Nice, Duddy.
Yep.
Nice."
Yep. Yeah, the hill was popping that night. Alumni coming back. I mean, Friday Night Lights opening game. I mean, it was special. So started the season electric, and next game it was on Sunday, so we played Friday, Sunday. So legs were hurting. I mean, I was definitely feeling it, and ended up going down to Del Val. We were down 1-0 at halftime, and came back to win 2-1. Real hot day. But so started the season 2-0. So we're like, all right, like we got something going here. All right, like it might be written in the script here. And next 3 games, I mean, we get our asses handed to us. I mean, we were leaking goals. I'm talking like 5-1, 5-2, and 4-1 to DeSalle, Salisbury, and St. Mary's.
Damn.
And we were like, okay, we got some problems here. We need to pick up our energy. We need some tactical solutions. We need everything at this point. I mean, we were leaking. We were real leaking. Well, the Salisbury and St. Mary's games, we actually went down to St. Mary's for the weekend. Played them back-to-back games, and they were tough. They were top squads. I believe St. Mary's ended up winning their conference as Salisbury got a bid into the tournament as well. So, overall, just solid teams that super athletic, and they definitely handed it to us. And let me pull up the schedule as we go through these games. And
I know when I was talking to Dow preseason before the York game, he was saying that he purposely made it a tough schedule because that's what the team asked for.
That's what we asked for, yep.
And it had been solidified before the whole news broke.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still just like, we have the same attitude of like, we want to compete at a high level, expecting that when we make the NCAA tournament, these are the teams we're going to have to play.
Yeah, and I would not change it at all. I'd rather go up and, get smacked by Salisbury because that's who we're going to, that has pretty much prepared us, because by the time we play another one of those teams, Mullingburg, at the end of the season, now, yes, we were defending for 90 minutes, but it was a 1-0 game, and where we were resting some guys as well, and it was a tight one for sure. But we came back home, and another under the lights game. It was a Wednesday. Rutgers Camden. Now they're coming into this game and they are ranked in their region, which is pretty tough to do because, like, when you're ranked in your region, you're probably going to get a bid into the tournament if you didn't win your conference at that time. They were like 5th in their region at the point. And also what happened in Maryland is Lobiano got a red card. And so we were like, okay, how many games is he going to be out for? Because in NCAA, you get suspended for the game after. But Atlantic East, they usually double it because the Atlantic East led the country in cards 2 years ago. Led the country. We have 7 teams. That is insane.
Actually, now that I think about it, like a lot of the AAC games that I've seen, they get pretty.
They get intense. They get intense. So they were like, all right, we need to figure this out. So usually the Atlantic East will then double the punishment. So instead of 1 game, you get suspended for 2 games. But then also the referee in Maryland classified Lobiano's red card as a punch. So that's automatically 2 games, which then Atlantic East would double, which would be 4 games. And we're like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Because Loeb's like, I didn't punch him. And when you watch the film back, he didn't punch him at all.
I've seen the film. He didn't punch him.
Yeah. He got tangled up, he spun around, and he accidentally hit this kid in the face. Now, granted, red card, probably. 4-game suspension, not a shot. So he's actually suspended for this Rutgers-Camden game. We're like, okay, our top threat, offensive player of the year, and we're like, okay, and we're coming in against some national recognition team, and we just got smacked 3 games in a row. We're like, all right, come out. We just had a different level of energy that night, and held them to, I think we were up 1-0 at halftime maybe, and then came out in the second goal in the second half, and we just were like pounced on the rest of the game. Had a great game plan. I think we were in a different type of pressure that would help us significantly with our legs as well, and we just won 2-0 on them and against a team, and we were like, okay. That was a great bounce back win. So 3-3 to start the season, so not terrible at all, especially against hard opponents for what it's worth. And then we go into the Battle of Eagle Road. That was something special. Final battle was actually the overall record was tied. I think it was 19-19. Both teams had 19 wins. 0 ties in the history of Cabrini versus Eastern, which is crazy because this game ended in a tie. It was the first time ever in that this game ended in a tie, which is astonishing.
Wow.
I was on the mic for that game, and I think my call at the end, because I also was saying that the entire game, it's like, this is to win the rivalry of the Battle of Eagle Road.
Yeah.
Like, this is to win the war out of the battle. And now
it ends in a tie.
My call at the end was like, as all good wars should end, this one will be a draw. I had someone text me after the game. They were like, that was fucking good.
Yeah,
and I was like, I didn't even pre-plan that. I fucking made that up on the fly.
The first half, they had our number in the first half. We were defending for the majority. We were not playing great. They actually got a goal on us. And then second half, we got a PK. And I had recently made a PK against Salisbury when we were in Maryland. And I step up for this PK. I remember the call with you and Drabinsky. He's like, who's taking this? And just like, oh, Dom's taking it. Because I just picked up the ball. And step up, and I hit my spot. Goalie made a great save. He made a great save. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This is not great. Not great. We're in a derby match, and I just missed a PK to possibly seal at least get a tie, get some momentum. But now they have everything. I mean, this is probably the most packed I've ever seen Edith Rob for a soccer game. So that was real bad on the momentum for our part. As we keep going, Duddy eventually found a goal late in the second half with about 15 minutes left, and we ended up tying the game. There was, a group picture afterwards. I think both coaches spoke afterwards, like the power of this rivalry between just not the men's soccer program, but the schools is something that's truly special. I mean, you're just separated by a road, and so I can't wait for the future battles of men's basketball, women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse
at home this year on Edith Rob Dixon Field
for the last time ever. Not on
men's
Edith
basketball's
Rob,
home as well.
Yes,
Oh,
and
sick.
spoiler alert, I'm going to be on the call for that one, or I should be. I've requested to be on the call for that one.
Do our softball and baseball teams not play?
I
Baseball's
I think they do.
Do they?
They do. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure baseball played last year.
We'll see when their schedule drops.
All right.
But either way, as you were saying, the Battle of Eagle Road, no matter what sport, it's intense.
Electric. Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's
Amazing.
fired up for it.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah. After that Easter game, more non-league games continued. A little bit again, tough schedule. A little bit on a slide. Ended up tying Karen. They hit a late equalizer on us. Got smoked by Alvernia. Not a great game by us. We were actually winning 1-0 and then ended up dropping 4 goals later in the game. So that wasn't great. Misericordia, again, a team that was getting looked at nationally ranked, or in the region and only 1-0 loss. But that Misericordia game was, I think, where we found our groove. We may have lost, but that second half, Misericordia, I don't think they touched the ball. We were just pinging it around. We were playing Cabrini style soccer, like how we that we want to do, and we were just moving and grooving. The ball was moving like butter. And we could not find the back of the net to save our lives, but we were like, okay, we know the style that we want to play for the rest of the season, and it's move in, out, find the lanes, and I think that was a huge turning point for us, because then conference play starts. Open up against Gwynedd. Now I have a lot of buddies on Gwynedd from high school. A couple of them transferred in, and so in prior years where Gwynedd has not been great, they were a tough competition this year. We ended up going down 1-0 early in the first half, and we're like, all right, like we gotta step this up. Then came back to win 2-1. So definitely a good start. The most important thing was the 3 points that we got, and it started to roll from there. Then it was on to Marymount. Now that game, because we wanted that back from last year, where we went to Marymount and we didn't even get off the bus. Like I said earlier, maybe the worst soccer game I've ever played in my entire career. And this game, I was like, all right, like I need to get back at them. We need to get back at them for that, and come out firing. It's a rainy day. No, they don't want to be there. They didn't get off the bus this time. And Nolan Holloway, man, he steps up, gets a ball. I think he won it somewhere in the midfield. Steps up, looks up, goalie's off his line. He hit it from half. It was nuts.
It was crazy.
It was, and Trubinsky, I'm sorry here. You should have been way more hyped for that goal. But it was crazy. And then eventually found the second one late in the second half. Lobiando got the clinching goal there. Then Newman, we ended up losing that game. In conference play, up until our last conference game, we did not give up a goal in the run of play. It was all restart goals.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
All corners or free kicks. It was nuts. Gwynedd off a corner. Newman, all free kicks that were served into our box or corners. Marywood, 3 free kick goals, like directly off the kick, until IMAC, where we ended up tying that game. And yours truly scored an own goal. Not great. It was tough. I was running backwards, and the ball slipped in, and I was like, all right, open net, wrong one, and so that wasn't great on my part. But that game was supposed to be our clinching, where if we won that game, we got the 2 seed. But instead, ended up getting tying that game, and then we had to wait because we had a bye week the final week. So it was like, okay, on the Wednesday we were just waiting to see what happens, and we needed Marywood to beat or tie Immaculata, and we're watching this game, and finally the breakthrough goal, because IMAC got a PK earlier in the game, and the Marywood keeper saved it. And we went nuts. I remember me and Hunter were working at the front desk, and we had the game on the TV, and these people upstairs probably thought we were nuts about just screaming at this TV at a random soccer game. But Marywood ended up finding the winner in that one, and we clinched the 2 seed. So got the first round bye. Now it got to it got serious. These the practices. You guys are gonna feel it soon.
Yeah.
The practices were like this could be the last practice. We woke up we have 7 a.m. practices on Fridays, and we woke up and we're like, this might be the last time we ever play on this field. And so we played Marywood in the semifinals. So we're looking for some revenge. They beat us in the regular season, and we get into this locker room, and you could just tell that these guys were zoned in. Before every game, usually Duddy speaks in the locker room, and he went on a little bit longer this time. I mean, I don't remember any of the words, but you just, in that moment, it's almost like you black out in that moment, and you're just like, okay. Walk out of the locker room as Mary Wood's walking out of the guest locker room, and all you hear is fucking Hunter. You hear him go, let's fucking go. Starts clapping. It's echoing through the hallways. Everyone else on the team just starts clapping, screaming, everything. And you were just like, okay, all right. You're walking into Edith Rob Dixon Field on it was on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m., and it could be your last game ever on that field, ever touching that turf. And walk out to nice, brisk winter. You could see the breath. You could see your breath when you breathe out. And then it got real. As soon as that Last Dance song started playing, you're like, all right. And you just get zoned in. I mean, you guys obviously know it. Every athlete knows it. But the stakes were just higher for us. They were just higher. We wrote on the board, last guarantee. It was your last guaranteed game. And ended up getting a PK early. Duddy stepped up, smashed it into the corner, and then again got the second goal in the second half, and then they ended up getting one late to give them a little bit of energy, but we held off, and all right, this is good. Back in the finals, right where we wanted, in the final year of Cabrini men's soccer, and we're just ready to go. And so we find out that we're playing at Newman. So we would have loved to have it at Edith Rob. So a little bit we were rooting for Marymount because we wanted a home game. But also we know it's hard to beat a team twice in a season, and we already beat Marymount. So all right, we're looking for some revenge on Newman here. We haven't beaten them in the last 3 meetings. That's 2 from my freshman year, and then in the regular season this year. And we're locked in, and we get to that locker room, and again you could just feel the tension almost, and sits us down before the pregame talk. We have our board set up, all the game plan, and there's not much written on the board. And Dal again, he's like, all right, we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna say, welcome to the fire. The fire that you all chose to run into at the beginning of the season. The 24 people that walked into that locker room on day 1 of preseason, everyone's still here. Said, here's the fire. It's burning, it's hot. He's like basically saying are you ready to go? Are you ready? And then Dre talked, one of our assistant coaches, and Dre was a former player, and he brings a different level of energy to the squad, especially through coaching. And he got serious. He gets serious usually before games, but this one got extra serious. And it's hard to describe in words. It really is. And I know you guys are going to go through it. Hopefully at the national championship level. But it's tough to describe that when you're sitting in that locker room and you're like, this is the last time I might ever put on this uniform. And the game, didn't exactly go our way. They got a PK midway through the first half. Maybe not our best first half, but our second half. I mean, they didn't pass the 30. I think maybe 3 times they did. They didn't have a shot on target. They had to make 2 miracles to save their day. A goal line save on Duddy's header, and then their goalie made a tremendous foot save with 3 minutes left in the game or something like that. And you're like, all right, well, if it takes 2 miracles to save the game, props to you. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough losing that game because you're like, all right, we final huddle, and Dallas was getting real emotional, and then everyone else, it just spread like a fire to the rest of us. That everyone was getting real emotional, and then I kind of sat there for a couple moments before I took off my jersey. I was like, I'm gonna take off this jersey for the last time. It was, and I was like, wow. I ended up hugging Hunter and Sharky before. I was like, good stuff, 317. Good stuff, South 317.
South 317 represent.
And took it off. It's like, just looked at it and just laid it on the ground. Took off my cleats, put them next to it. It's like, all right. Then I just stepped over the line for the last time in a Cabrini uniform.
Yeah, I just got chills. Dom. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, so then I ended up taking a picture. I folded up my jersey, took a picture, sent it to my mom, and or sent it to the family group chat. I was like, yep, that's a wrap. That's a wrap for Cabrini men's soccer. And yeah, so the emotions in the final two games were something else. It's truly hard to describe because of the commitment that everyone put into the season and the commitment for coming back, because everyone had a choice. Everyone made a choice to come back, and like Coach Dow said to me over the summer, and as he said to me in the locker room said to us on the first day locker room of preseason and on our final game, it's like we all chose to run into the fire together. Let's go finish it. And we came out on the wrong side. So I guess you could say you got a little burnt on the way through. But I wouldn't trade the season for anything. I mean, just from the June 23rd when I was sitting on my Zoom call, and then when it ended, I was like, I'm staying here. There's unfinished things that I have to do at Cabrini, not just through soccer. Soccer being a huge part of it, but I have to do it one last time because I don't think the story ends now.
Can't end this way.
Exactly. And yeah, so the emotions on the bus ride home were a little bit tense because we're like, wow, this is really real, because it's like it's gonna happen, but you're just not ready for it.
That is the perfect way to describe it, because the entire time you're telling the story, I'm mentally preparing, because one way or another, it's gonna be us.
It's yeah, and for anyone whose school is not closing who's listening to this,
sucks.
You don't want this. You don't want this to happen to you at all, and but it's something that you're gonna remember. You're gonna remember the last time that you stepped out of that locker room and stepped over that line, the touch line, and just be like at ease.
Wow, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That was amazing.
I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
All the gears in my head are just turning.
I'm like, why am I tearing up right now?
Yeah.
I saw you do a little thing with your eye over there.
Yeah, you're just a fucking good storyteller. We just got a nice run through that season. I think it is time. First,
So lighten it up.
before we get to moment of the week, I do have an important question. Do you know what you're doing next year?
I was gonna also.
I do know what I'm doing.
Drum roll.
Are we gonna reveal it live on the pod?
We can. I mean, people know. It is with a heavy heart that I say that I'm going to Newman in the spring.
Damn.
I know. It was a tough decision, but like I said earlier, everyone's on their own path.
Call you Kevin Durant.
I text my home group chat that, and they made a meme about that. The My Next Chapter meme.
Can't beat them, join them.
I know. And no, I can't say enough about their program, and Coach Temple. He's been great through the whole process and everything, where he's like, do your thing, then we'll talk after. It's like, all right, that's a plan. It's like, I hope to beat you, but that is the plan. I'm already getting some shit for it from my buddies, as I should as well. But also, Griff has mentioned this to me. He's like, Dom, not gonna lie, fuck you for going there. But he said, I hope you fucking win everything. Yeah. I hope you do everything, because everyone's. He said, everyone's gonna do what they got to do. Everyone's on their own path, like I said, And no matter how hard it might be to go, switch things up and make a change, it's inevitable for all of us. Which I hate to say it like that, but it's it's coming. You're just not ready at all. You're just not ready.
And you can just infiltrate them. That's what you're going to do. You're going to bring that Cabrini spirit in there, and they will never know.
Yeah, I texted one of their guys earlier today, and I was like, first off, congrats on winning the chip, and second off, I'm coming, and third off, I'm hungrier than you are, so be fucking ready.
Oh yeah,
I love that. I think that is a great transition into our moment of the week. This is my favorite segment. So moment of the week is you pick any time throughout the past week. It could be happy, sad, mad, in between, whatever it was, and that just kind of wraps up your week or something like to highlight.
Yeah.
You don't go first.
Yeah, we always go first. Nick, do you have yours?
Yeah. Easily Wednesday playing football with the fellas. The last day of fall ball practices. Coach DeLuca, tried to trick us. He tricked all of us. He came into the locker room. The day before, Tuesday, we had practice, and he told us when we ended practice, like, hey, tomorrow, be in the locker room 3:30, practice shorts, sweatshirt, cleats on. All right. That sounds cool. We get a text that morning, hey, if you're not feeling good, stay home. A lot of guys are sick. Don't need anybody else getting sick before they go home. So in my head all day, I'm thinking, like, are we still going to do this? We have numbers for it. Get to the locker room. Me and Fridge are the only people there. We're throwing the football around. More people come in. They're throwing the football around. So we're throwing the football around for like 20, 30 minutes.
It's just what we do.
We do. Coach Brian Rafferty, he comes in, and we're like, yeah, what are we doing today? He's like, I don't know, dude. Can't tell you. Like, he was a teammate of ours past 2 years. So it's like, just tell us,
Right,
so
right.
he leaves the locker room, and we're all in there. Right? We're all anti as shit because we have no idea what's going on. We're still throwing the football around.
Yeah.
And Coach DeLuca comes in, and he's like, yeah, so one of my buddies is here. He, he's like a workout kind of guy. We're gonna do a workout in the fall with a nice workout. Get your body, moving, not lacrosse based, but like, get a good sweat in. Mm-hmm. Get a real good sweat in. So we're all like, awesome. Like, this is great. Like, this is gonna be a good day for us.
Is David Goggins gonna walk through the fucking door?
Well, that's the only exception. And he goes out, like, we were all like, we'll work out today. Yeah, that's a good idea. And he leaves, and we're all just like, fuck, dude. Like, God damn it. Like, where the fuck's that football? And out of nowhere, all you hear is because we have like Bluetooth in our place, and DeLuca comes back in with the football, and he says like, we're playing fucking football. We're like, yeah. It was lit. And then we played probably 6 games, probably in total, 6-7 games. Had like 4 teams.
Yeah, it was a round robin style, double elimination kind of tournament.
Yeah, so we played a bunch of games. Yeah, it was a good time.
Great way to end the fall. And me and Gers actually on the sideline, we had that moment where he said it first, where we were just kind of watching the games. He was like, I can't believe this is my last fall ball practice ever. And I turned to him, I'm like, well, thanks, asshole. Now I'm thinking about that. Like, fuck. Now I'm in my feels. But that was a great way to kind of wrap up the fall season. And I forget what DeLuke said at the end, but like he said something that really just summed up everything of like, this is what we've been working for, and like we have something special here, and we're doing something special. So that's a great moment. I'm glad you brought that up.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm going a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
I'm going Thursday night, and this is the circumstances around this are tough. So our teammate Sam Kirk, his father passed away recently, and so we all as a team went to the viewing on Thursday night down in Phoenixville. We had to wear dress pants, dress shoes, shirt, and then our Cabrini jacket. We're going as a team. We want to look like a team. It's easy with 27 guys 'cause you can kind of like keep everything the same. Of course, we did have people the day of be like, I don't want black pants. We're like,
There it is.
it's not like we've been talking about this for a week, guys. But we're about to leave. I was going to drive us down there, all that. I'm grabbing and everything, just took a shower, did my hair. I'm looking snazzy as fuck. I think I made the comment to Nick. Nick made the comment to me. It's like, we clean up good. We can clean up good. reaching for my shoes that are in my closet on the floor. And I, squat down. I guess I went a little too far past 90. I hear, and I'm like, no fucking way. I stand up, fucking reach back there. I had a hole in my pants. I run out of my room, and I was like, Nick, I have a predicament. I think I need, because he had an extra pair of black pants, so I think I'm going to need your extra pair of pants. Oh, okay, yeah, what happened? I'm like, pretty sure I just ripped my fucking pants.
And he explained to me just the way like he did to you. He was like, I had to get my shoes, so I squatted down and I just went a little bit too far past 90.
Ass to grass. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Dustin would be proud.
I saw.
All right,
I saw you in open lift the other day. You were squatting. It was
great mobility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I just gave him my pants and I was like, here you go, man. No one else knows I have these because everybody else was asking. But
Wow, that is.
Like if
Oh my God.
Like Fritz said, we had a week to figure this out.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're gonna ask me the day of, I'm not gonna.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Wow.
But
In unexpected circumstances
that's-
like that.
I live with you.
And
You'll
honestly-
get my other
And
pair.
these are those are the pants I had for my graduation. Like, I've been using them for years, no problems at all. And then finally, it just one too many.
Was it like in the seam or was it?
It was the same. It was the
Okay.
same.
All right.
And
It was in the crack.
Yeah. It was. Honestly, I thought about this after. I could have, because I was wearing black underwear underneath. I could have repped it and just been like, wonder if anyone will notice there's just a giant hole in my pants. But probably not the best thing, especially at a viewing where we got down on our knees and
You have to be serious.
I thought about that very right away when I kneed down. I'm like, thank God I'm not wearing those pants, or thank God it didn't happen there.
That probably been worse.
Because then they would have heard
the pop.
the seam.
You would have reacted.
I
You would
would
have
have
been like,
been sitting there just fucking, oh no. So yeah, and then I guess to be the cherry on top of that, just the team at the viewing, that was a really cool moment. We had 26 of our 27 guys. Waldo was sick, so he couldn't make it, but that was really cool how we were able to rally around our teammate. And I mean, still to the Kirk family, our condolences. They've been going through a lot, but we have each other's back. I think that moment was really special for me because I saw this is a family. It doesn't matter the circumstances, whatever. We're a family and we're here for each other. So good moment of the week right there. Mama, if you're listening, I need new dress pants.
That's great.
All right, Dom. Moment of the week.
Yeah. So my moment of the week, it was Tuesday night. I just gotten back from my 8 to 11 shift at Dixon, and come back to the room, and Hunter had texted me previously, and he's like, Dom, I need help with this math. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be late. Do you really need it tonight? He's like, dude, I got a test tomorrow. I was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna make me a bowl of ramen when I get back. Get your laptop ready, and we'll sit at our little kitchen table in the common area, and we'll get this going. I'm like, all right. Come back, have my bowl of ramen. He's ready. He's pencil in hand at this table. He's crisscross applesauce sitting. He's like, all right, I'm ready to go. All right. I was like, all right. He was eager to learn about annuity. That's what they were learning.
I have no idea what that means, but keep going.
It's interest rates, stuff like that, gross value, revenue, all that fun stuff. I think Hunter's in math 113 or something like that, 114 maybe. One of those two.
Business math, probably.
Yeah. And so we sit down, and actually I think I sent you the Snapchat maybe, and sit down, and we're going through the practice test, and he's screwing these questions up, and I'm like Hunter, you gotta sit down and write it out step by step by step. It's okay, can I use your notepad? I have he wanted to use a sticky note as his scrap work. I'm like, no, Hunter, so got out my big yellow pad piece of paper. This is where I do all my scrap work, all my homework. And he's like, all right. So we end up going through the whole couple questions on the test. We did half the problems, and end up getting them, all right on the test. But midway through, I'm just sitting here, and I get a bloody nose midway through this. So I'm talking, it's 11:45. We're done 3 questions out of 15. I want to go to bed. Hunter's exhausted. He's frustrated at the math because it's not working out on his calculator, but it's working on my calculator. And then Sharky, I don't even know where Sharky's at. He's nowhere to be found. His door's closed, I think. Maybe he's in there playing Fortnite. I'm not really sure. and I just like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? Like, and Fridge is about to pull this picture up. I know. Did you save it? Yep.
That's Dom with a bloody nose. Hunter sitting there, 11:33 p.m. And the caption says, "Just your average night in 317. Math tutor nosebleed Dom, confused and shirtless Hunter, nowhere to be found Sharky." And I slid up and I was like, "This should be framed and put in a Cabrini museum."
Yeah. And so we ended up working through these problems, and Hunter, he's getting mixed up on some of the stuff, and I'm trying to explain it to him, and it's just not clicking for me, is it? And he's like, I'm done. He's like, it's like 12:20 by this point. He's like, I just need to go to bed. I think if I get more sleep, I'll be okay. And I'm like, all right, like he's like, I can even ask Mr. Madway for help, like during the test, like it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, you do you. Ended up, I don't think he did too great on that test, but. Moral of the story, it was a fun experience because, as a math major, as a secondary ed major, I love teaching, what's going on, even if sometimes you don't get it. It's sometimes the experience of teaching that you really, really like. And, sometimes I think Hunter gave up a little bit too soon. I think we could have got there. We got those practice problems correct, but, it's a bad execution on test day for sure.
This is how you know he's going to be a teacher when he tells his college roommate, all right, you need to whip out your pad of paper and do it step by step. You can't be skipping any steps. That's where you're going to make a mistake.
Nate knows.
Dude, so in the Newman championship game, we were all there, obviously, electric atmosphere, and Nate, like, I think somebody like tackled you or something, or like shoved you, and he was like, "That's my tutor, don't touch him." And I yelled something, and I was like, "He's gonna be president one day." Just like we had the Dom Petruzzelli fan club,
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think you're gonna be a great teacher when you get there.
I would agree.
I can't wait.
I need to be
can't
Mr.
wait.
Petruzzelli. If you were my calculus teacher, I might have fallen in love. I did enjoy calculus, low key.
Yeah, it's funny when all my friends are like, you're gonna like teach my kids when you're older. I'm like, I know, and I'm gonna like look at your kids and be like, I know all the crazy stuff you did throughout your dad's entire life. Yeah, I was there step by step along the way.
I know more about your dad than you ever will. That's awesome. One day, I hope my kids can be in Mr. Petruzzelli's class.
I agree. Same here.
And I think that is a great way to transition us into, we might be on record watch, by the way. Right?
Actually?
We're at 2:32.
Wow.
I'm going to look up while you tell us what your draft, because this is in Dom Petruzzelli fashion. He's fucking prepared for the draft.
Yeah, I was looking at the old podcast and was like, what drafts haven't been done yet? I'm like, wait a sec. This is a no-brainer. Thanksgiving coming up. Thanksgiving foods. Best Thanksgiving foods. It's got to be, right?
That's a banger.
Start us off.
Yeah.
Make sure to write them down
Okay,
so that we can get the recap. I won't tell you what the record is. I'll let this be en natural, but we are on record watch. I'll put that out there.
All right. With my first overall pick of Thanksgiving foods, there's a lot of great options here. A lot of great options. I think I have to go with my personal favorite. It's got to be stuffing. It's got to be stuffing. Stuffing from the bird, like cooked in the oven from all the turkey. My goodness.
We talked about this, I think, in the last episode, where stuffing is my like top food. So that's a great pick. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I would have taken that first overall.
Really.
No, there's one answer for first overall. Let's fight over it.
Let's go. For reference, at the Turkey Bowl, we did rock, paper, scissors, and off camera for the Lax Lounge, I won 2-0 and then won our game for the Turkey Bowl. So just had to put that out there to the fans. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. There's one. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 2!
That's okay. That's okay.
In a span of 2 days, I've gone 4-0 in rock, paper, scissors. And I'm going to wear that on my chest.
He's at his ceiling. I'm at my floor. I can only higher.
And I just want to confirm, we're doing Thanksgiving food overall. Doesn't have to be sides.
Nope. Yeah, can be sides.
I'm taking the turkey.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's
Number
number
one. That
it's
is
the star of the show. It's the
When
star
you
of the
think
show.
of-
I would 100% agree.
Now let me ask a question, Fridge.
Okay.
Are you a white meat turkey guy or a dark meat turkey guy?
big white meat guy. I'm not a big fan of dark meat, and that's a very me thing to be like, I want the white meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just straight up. I've never been a fan of dark meat.
Yeah. With my first pick, I'm gonna go with prime rib. That's yeah, we do that in the Mormando household.
I was gonna say that is not.
Wow.
In,
Yeah, that's a new one.
That's not in the Petruzzelli / Morelli household.
You guys don't have like red meats on Thanksgiving?
Nope. Ham.
Yeah,
Ham
always.
is the darkest meat that we get. And honestly, I'm a ham over turkey.
We don't
guy.
even do ham.
Usually
Wow.
we would do ham only because I used to not like turkey.
Okay.
Where I just like, I don't know, that grossed me out.
Mhm.
And now I'm like cultured, so I eat turkey.
There you go. All right.
Second round,
Yeah.
kick us off.
Well, I mean, to pair my backcourt, I mean, the second best side of the game, you got to go mashed potatoes.
Okay,
You have to go mashed potatoes.
that's a good pick. That is a good pick.
That is a good pick.
I am going to go with my second pick. Good old sweet potato casserole.
Great pick.
Get a little sweet in there with the savory.
I'm gonna take the other meat that you mentioned. I'm gonna take ham.
Just going for all the meats.
Yeah.
This guy's Arby's over here.
He loves the big men.
We have them.
We have the meats. Mormando sandwich, prime rib, and ham.
With my third round pick, I think I have to go to turkey gravy. It goes on everything. It goes on everything.
That's a good pick.
It's
Give
so
you that.
versatile.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. Yeah,
I like that.
I like it.
I'm going to go with the best side dish. The creme de la creme. When little Friggy, I was always on this duty.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say the dinner roll, baby. The
Mm.
dinner roll, because I
Great
was
pick.
always the one where, like, especially when I was younger, that is the only thing I was there for. I was there for the rolls, and a few more rolls, and I'd always get the extras too. So you got to go with the dinner rolls. If you don't do Pillsbury, you do your own like fresh ones, and it's you can't miss. You can't miss.
I'm gonna go with pumpkin pie.
Oh, yup. We're
Yep.
getting into the desserts.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about desserts. Holy crap.
I know. There's a lot you can
Yeah.
go.
This is gonna be controversial because not a lot of people like it, and there's two kinds. Cranberry sauce.
So I'm a cranberry sauce guy. I think that's a great pick.
Which one though? The Jello kind or like the actual cranberry sauce?
Well, the actual cranberry sauce is better. Throughout my life, I always had the canned stuff.
I've always had the canned stuff as well.
I've had recently the last couple of years when I go with Nate, they make it fresh, and it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different and it's awesome. And as a cranberry sauce guy, I enjoy it, but that's controversial for some people.
Interesting.
Fourth overall, I'm kind of torn here. There's a couple directions that I could go. I think I'm gonna go with my gut, which is saying that my favorite dessert, which is an apple pie.
Yep.
I gotta get my pie.
That's a good one.
The balance. Pumpkin is the quintessential Thanksgiving food or Thanksgiving pie, but apple pie is right there.
You're right. I
100%.
think
It's American.
they go
dogs.
hand in hand, honestly, for me.
They do. For my number 4, I'm gonna go with a baked potato.
Ooh, okay. Getting the other potato,
Yeah, the
off
potato,
the
yeah.
board.
Are you guys like a chunky mashed potatoes people or like a smooth?
Smooth.
I'm a no mashed potatoes guy. I'm not a mashed potatoes
Really?
fan.
I said it on one of the more previous podcasts we did, but I need my potatoes to be like loaded with cheese and bacon.
Really?
Oh yeah, and butter. A lot of butter.
Obviously butter, yeah.
It's the best way to do it.
All right, I think to round out my 5, this is not a favorite of mine, but it's big in my family, and yeah, I got to go to the green bean casserole. It's big in my family. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's massive in my family.
Yeah, it's big in my family
Mm-hmm.
also.
Yeah, we would skip the casserole and usually just go green beans.
Mhm.
And regardless, I'm kind of just like, okay. But there is a crowd for it. So the green bean casserole crowd is going nuts right now at
Yeah.
home. I'm going to take, is that even a Thanksgiving side though? I'm going to throw it out and see if I get reaction back. If I do, I'll give her something else. I'm going to take mac and cheese.
A lot of
Alright.
families do it. A lot of
Okay,
families
yeah,
do it.
boom, mac and cheese, homemade.
Yeah,
If it's,
my family does not personally do it, but I know a lot of people
Same
that
here.
do.
I feel like a couple years we've done it might be for Christmas, but like we may have done it for Thanksgiving, and I have seen families that do it. And I think that's a good way to go.
Warminster
It is
Warminster, a
good.
real big one right now, Nick. If you don't say it,
It'll be an honorable mention.
I hope. Is it dessert? Because I'm going to say another
It's
dessert.
not a dessert.
Oh, that sucks. 'Cause I'm saying pecan pie.
Ooh,
Great
two
pick.
pies on the
Great
squad.
pick.
You know, I've never had a pecan pie.
Neither have I.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yet it's on your squad. I like that.
Seasonal.
I like it.
Seasonal,
Okay.
diverse, you know.
I'm gonna stay away from the desserts because we missed this one.
So
fellas.
I will say this is an honorable mention. We have our 5.
Okay. Corn.
Cream corn.
Yeah.
I guess Thanksgiving, you think of the Pilgrims, you skip the genocide, and you think of all the corn. Yeah, I guess you make a good point.
Yeah, cream corn casserole is one that Nate's family brought into my life. Not a big corn fan, but
Love
cornbread. Honorable
Ooh.
mention, right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Corn, that's actually a huge one.
Yeah.
Maize.
I'm looking. Have a list right now. Nothing's really standing out, but candied carrots. That
Alright,
is
yeah,
a
that's fine.
grow. I
Good
love
guess.
me some candied carrots. Any other notable honorable mentions that are missing? I think we got the big
I
ones.
feel like Thanksgiving food is just food.
It's delicious food.
It's definitely delicious, but
They
sure,
had
just
some
food. I was
veggies.
gonna say,
heard Brussels sprouts is pretty big.
I wanted to say Brussels sprouts,
I was
but
gonna say shrimp cocktail because at every single
appetizer,
Thanksgiving I've ever been a part of, there's been shrimp cocktail.
spinach artichoke
My family
dip.
does weddings, the meatball wedding soup.
Italian wedding
Yep,
soup.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
very good, very good.
That sounds delicious.
We call it holiday soup.
Okay.
Yeah, my
Um,
family at least.
if you really want to switch things up in the meat department, duck. You could
Love
do
duck.
Every
love
single
duck.
year, I recommend goose instead of turkey for Christmas. Like we should do goose this year. My dad's like, dude, shut up. I've been saying this for the past 15 years. And I'm like, okay, well, we haven't done it.
My mom was telling me that she wants us to do a turkey for Christmas and have us try to replicate or just do, because I missed Thanksgiving the last 3 years and probably will for a while. Or she wants to do a Christmas one, since our entire family's gonna be there, and be like, oh yeah, it's like a second Thanksgiving. I'm like, word, okay, cool. If we want to go through that trouble, let's fucking do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why not? We did it.
Let's recap.
Yep.
Let us recap our list. Dom, start us off.
All right. So I had stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, and my honorable mention was corn.
No protein.
I know. It's a lot of role players.
That's good though. Hi, they can win championships.
Yeah.
That's a good squad.
It is a good squad.
I've got the star of the show, the turkey.
Yeah.
Sweet casserole, but sweet potato casserole, dinner roll, apple pie, and mac and cheese. I really like my squad.
You got a well-rounded squad.
I got a bit of everything. I got the star player. I got the sixth man. Got those role players. I'm really liking. I feel confident about that pick.
I have prime rib, pumpkin pie, ham, baked potato, and pecan pie. Pecan pie for my southerners.
That's tough too. Yeah.
Well, actually, I would say pecan, and I'm not even from the south.
I've always called it a pecan.
Only
Only people on TV call it a pecan.
I always look at it. Well, maybe that's why I'll work on TV one day. I always look at it as when I say pecan, I picture a pecan in a pie.
I feel like a pecan.
I just get disgusted.
I think pecans are like birds.
That's a pecan pie right there. I think that'd be from the south.
If there was a bird
feel
that was
pecan
like
is
a
one
tropical bird, and I said, "Oh, that's a pecan," you'd say, "Oh shit, that's pecan."
It's flying pecan. Right
Yeah,
there.
you go, "Yeah, shit."
And then I'd look up and be like, a can of peas is flying. I don't know. Every single time I hear pecan, that's what I think.
But you hear pecan, and you're like, "That's a nut."
Yeah, literally, and it's a delicious pie apparently.
Yeah.
Pecan pie.
Never had.
Yeah.
it.
I think Nick had 2 superstars in the meat department. Fridge had the most well-rounded, I think.
I would agree. And I think
I-
you're just the role play king. You
Yeah,
took all the
a
sides.
lot of role playing and a lot of chemistry. A lot of chemistry
Definitely.
with that gravy.
Definitely, he's holding everything
Yeah,
together.
that's the glue guy. Glue guy of the week.
He has glue.
Gravy. He's got it. He is the glue.
He's got the glue.
All right.
Well,
Well,
who's got the glue?
who's got the glue?
Our boy.
Dom, it has been our pleasure. And we just want to, do you have any shout outs that you'd like to make here? It's been a great episode. I will say we're not going to hit the record unless you talk for 14 more minutes. And Kyle Catilla is probably very happy, and he will when I tell him tomorrow, because he asks me every Monday during our
That would be the record.
because his is 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Mhm.
And I thought nobody was going to touch it. You're in second place right now. We're at 2:45.
Wow.
So very
Lot of-
impressed. This was I really enjoyed hearing your perspective.
Yeah,
on
this
things.
is awesome.
It's funny, like, because I mean I'm surrounded by soccer players every single day, and it was like I could just like feel you guys like, oh my gosh, like you guys are so in tune with the conversation. Like I could be rambling on for soccer about hours, for hours, and yeah, sometimes it can get boring, yeah, but it's really interesting stuff, and just like I love like hearing about your lacrosse lives. And it's like, all right, there's other people than just soccer players around here.
Because that's what the same perspective I had. Because I wanted to know, like, when we're watching the game, or like when I'm talking about like what's going on in the locker room, what's going on that I don't see, what are you saying on the field? Like that's why we do this stuff. Like we want to give you the insight into what it's like being a D3 athlete, whether it's lacrosse, soccer. It's the only two sports we've highlighted so far, but we're looking to expand. But like just overall, like the student athlete experience, and everyone has their own unique things that happen, the dynamics of the squads, and I think that you gave us a perfect glimpse into what it's like, especially in this last year, to represent a legacy and to really make everyone, like I know I can say this, like make us all proud. Like we're being at that game at Newman and walking away, we were all sad, we were all devastated, but at the same time we were like, that was so cool how we were able to do it. The theme is together. We all came together for that. We united around you guys, and we were able to cheer you on for your last game.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we, like Dallas said, you're walking into something that's burning, and and sometimes you might not be ready, but it's coming, and it's something really really emotional and something special at the same time.
And we're about to walk into the fire in January.
Hell yeah.
Any final shout-outs that you would like to make here? The floor is all yours.
I mean, hey, hi mom, hi dad, hi Enzo. Hope you enjoyed the show, and can't wait for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving right around the corner. We will be back next week. I think we're going to do a solo pod.
This will be released on Thanksgiving Eve. So.
This will. Oh my gosh, it'll be on what's the day before Thanksgiving called?
Biggest party night of the year.
Yeah, it's Blackout Wednesday.
That is.
I don't
Here's
know.
to responsible drinking. If you are partaking,
folk called Thanksgiving.
if you are partaking in pre-Thanksgiving activities, be safe and have fun. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And Nick, there's one thing I'm missing. What am I missing?
You want me to say it?
What is it? I think you should say it.
Should I say it?
You should say it.
Shout out Jules.
Shout out Jules.
He knows. Shout out Jules. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
I be stargazing. I be up in the clouds, but I won't come down cause I be too faded. Everybody wanna walk that talk, wanna talk that talk like we made it. But they all gon' catch what I got, I'll make the money right back. Bitches be trippin', don't know how to act. You just be singing, don't know how to rap. I really be running this shit like I'm Owen. She like a wave, I'm loving her motion. It's like I'm sipping straight up on the potion. Water be dripping and feel like the ocean. I know that I'm different cause I'm from the other side. She's saying that she want me, girl, that's capping, girl, you lying. Everything I ever did, all I do is right. You could never say it cause you switched up and you lied. Yeah. Had to switch up and you lied. Yeah, I be stargazing. I be up in the clouds, but I won't come down cause I be too faded. Everybody wanna walk that talk, wanna talk that talk like we made it. But they all gon' catch what I got, I'll make the money right back. Bitches be trippin', don't know how to act.